मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय, सद्गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय, श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्री राधा गोलोकनंद की जय, गिरिराज महाराज की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीमतां सुकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनं हृद्यन्तस्तु अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Okay, so we chant the prayers by Srila Sanatan Goswami to Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam. सर्व शास्त्रादि पीयूष सर्व वैदिक सत्फल सर्व सिद्धांत रत्नाद्य सर्व लोकैक पद सर्व भागवत प्राण श्रीमद् भागवतो प्रभु कलिदंतो तितादित्य श्री कृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्व सेवाय श्री कृष्णाय नमोस्तुते मद एक बंधु मद संगेन मद गुरुन् मद महादन मद निश्चार्क मद भाग्य मद आनंद नमोस्तुते असाधु साधु तादाइन अचिनी चोचता हाना मुंचा कदाचिन प्रेम न हृत कंतयो स्पुरः ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, all the assembled Vaishnavas की जय। Thank you all so much for joining. Nice to see all of you. Thank you for your association this morning. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are in the chapter 13 of the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And today we'll be talking, so, we have discussed of so many different avatars, right? We read the list of the avatar. Where did we read the list of avatars? Anyone remembers?
First canto, third chapter.
Okay, very nice. And again, was there another list?
Yeah, even in second canto, but I don't remember the.
Yes, very nice. In second canto also we have a list. So first canto, third chapter we have. In second canto, around seventh chapter, we have another list of all the incarnations. And now of all those incarnations, how Jaydev Goswami has selected 10 of those, as he selected them as more prominent ones. Right. So we shall Dasha Avatar. Now today we will be discussing the first of those Dasha avatars. Right. So when Vidura has asked Maitreya Rishi that you please talk of Purusha avatars, I want to know about creation. What was the one point that Vidura stressed upon? Please speak it with sweetness. right? With sweetness, with sweetness. I want to hear it with sweetness. And hence we see the same section, one way the creation is there in second canto, but again, creation is described in third canto. But in the third canto, we have more prayers, we have more pastimes. And now, today we'll be discussing the pastime of the first of those Dash avatars elaborated, that is Varaha Dev, right? We'll be talking of Varaha Dev today. So very nice to meditate on this avatar, okay? So before we continue, are there any points from last class anyone would like to share? Any realizations?
One point that was discussed is that, that famous verse, text 4 that we all practiced about how Bhagavatam, like we need to hear from devotees about pure devotees. And that Srimad Bhagavatam, the main focus of Srimad Bhagavatam is on the bhakta. And if we hear about the devotees' love for Krishna, then we will also develop that love for Krishna.
Thank you. So, Shrutasya Pumsam Suchira Samasya, right? So, and the verse is actually saying what is the goal of all our hearing is to hear about the pure devotees of the Lord. Just to hear from the pure devotees about the pure devotees of the Lord is actually our goal of all our hearing, right? Thank you. Any other points? So just quickly review the 5 Ds. That in spite of Brahma, he did the meditation, he prayed to the Lord came, he revealed the knowledge, darshan. Lord, Brahmaji got darshan of Garbhodakshay Vishnu, he's praised Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and then he started creation, he started doing seva. But in spite of them, there were reversals in his seva, and we talked of 5 different reversals, right? 5 Ds, right? And what was those 5 Ds?
Dissatisfaction, disobedience, disturbance, distraction,
And
deficiency.
well, perfect. Very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. Right. So we started off with dissatisfaction. Brahmaji he created different kinds of ignorance, and it's like, oh, why have I created this? But it was necessary for this aspect of the material world, and he was not satisfied. So dissatisfaction. Then 4 Kumaras, right? He created and he said, like, go create progeny. He said, no, no, we want to remain brahmachari, disobedience, right? Then third, he actually created, he got angry. Rudra became manifested. And then Rudra started destroying everything, right? And then it was like Rudra. He expanded with the Rudranis. And it started destroying everything. So even it came to destroy Brahmaji, and there was so much disturbance in his creation, right? And then he had to say, okay, not now. Now you go and perform penance, chant Hare Krishna. Later on, when your service is needed, please come back, right? So that was disturbance. And then after that, then distraction, right? So the Vak episode, how Brahmaji himself, he got attracted to his own daughter in a sexual way, even though she was not inclined, right? So that was the Vak episode. And we read so many like practical lessons from that Vak episode. One is the power of Maya, the power of lust. And then we read about how the sons of Brahmaji, they actually tell Brahmaji about this whole thing, that how is it that you are attracted? And we said, like, very practical points that when we may see, something which may not be, which may not appear correctly in the actions of a devotee, a senior devotee, then how is our mood towards that, right? And we read all those practical lessons. And then the last D was, in spite of creating those 10 sons, including Narad Muni, right? And then he was saying that, okay, I have done everything the best of my ability. I did my best. I have tried to distribute as many books, tried to work towards the goal. I did my best, Seva, but still I am not able to successfully create progeny. And he was just contemplating this part, and who appeared? Who were the best of Brahmaji's creation?
Swayambhu Manu and
Satarupa,
Satarupa.
right? So actually, if you see the entire chapter of all the creations of Brahmaji, these Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa were actually the best for fulfilling the purpose of creating progeny. And who actually created that? Did Brahma actually created that? Not
No.
really, because they came from the body of Brahma, but actually it was Krishna. Right? And it's very important point that we do our best, but finally Krishna has to come and finally do the best of our seva. Right? Krishna uses us as instruments to serve. right? In that way, that last D was deficiency, and Brahma was thinking of this deficiency, and immediately Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa, and they actually came from Brahma, and in spite of they coming from Brahma, they cannot be considered as brother or sister because they actually sexually united. And then chapter 13. How does chapter 13 ask, what is Vidura so expert at that we should learn from? Is his art of asking questions, right? He just wants to keep asking questions, right? So again, now he asks more questions. And then what is his question? Okay, how did they, Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa, they have been born now? How did they unite? What happened after that? I want to know. Please tell me. I cannot stop. Like, please don't stop. I want this to go on and on and on. Right? So that is the first section. So we'll quickly go through the first 4 verses. We discussed up to verse 4. And then 5th verse is one more verse where Vidura speaks. And then Maitreya Rishi will continue speaking from text number 6 onwards. Okay. So I want to do something different this time. I want to go towards the end of this chapter. So can we just look at text number 48, 49, 50, the last 3 verses of this chapter, and then we'll come back to the first, right? So if you turn your Bhagavatam to the text number 48, okay? So would anyone like to just read the translation of 48, then 49 and 50? 3 verses, we'll read the translation, and then we'll start.
If one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Bod, which is worthy of description, the Lord who is within the heart of everyone is very pleased. Hare Krishna.
So why are we reading these verses? Because these last 3 verses are the Falashruti. Falashruti is the benefit of actually, or the blessings when we actually hear these pastimes with, and then what is the how we should hear those pastimes are described. But the blessings of hearing this pastime. And what does it say? How should one hear this pastime? How should one describe this pastime? In devotional service attitude. Right? Devotional service attitude. And this auspicious narration of Varahadev, which we'll be discussing today, and which is worthy of description. It is worth hearing. No other topic is as glorious as the topic of this. Don't open your news channel, Google News, or WhatsApp, or this or that. No topic as auspicious as hearing about this avatar, Varahadev. And when you hear about them, about Varahadev, who's within the heart of everyone, the Lord who is here in our heart, in Paramatma, who's seated in our heart, he is very pleased if we hear this. Right? So if we just hear carefully with the devotional attitude, Paramatma in the heart will be very pleased. Right? So we can please Paramatma today. Okay, next, 49.
Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional state by the Lord Himself, who is seated in everyone's heart.
So just by hearing this pastime in a devotional service attitude, but speaking this pastime in devotional service attitude, Paramatma is pleased. And what does it say? Paramatma will elevate us to the highest perfectional stage. He will take us to the highest stages of bhakti. And nothing remains unachieved for that person for whom Paramatma is pleased. Okay, and then last verse, text 50.
Who other than one who is not a human being can exist in this world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? Who can refuse the nectar of narrations about the personality of Godhead's activities, which by itself can deliver one from all material pangs?
So this is so wonderful that Paramatma in the heart is pleased. And when Paramatma in the heart is pleased, He will give us whatever, the highest perfection, whatever blessing. Nothing remains unachieved for such a person. Now, who will refuse to hear such wonderful Hari Katha? So let's, with that mood, start hearing about Varahad. Okay. So, Ratnareka, you have a question?
I had a question about the last chapter when Brahma was dissatisfied. That's more like it's because we also hear about Vyasadeva being dissatisfied, but that was like an indication that he needed to like make his focus more on devotional service. But this dissatisfaction of Brahma was more just something he had to tolerate to continue his service, right? So it's a different kind of dissatisfaction. It's not like he had to change something because he was dissatisfied. It was more like,
Mm, well, one way you can see that the dissatisfaction, like both of them were doing seva to the best of their ability. Vyasadeva also was thinking. He saw into Kali Yuga, he said, like, Kali Yuga means manda sumanda matayo, people are so unfortunate. And then how will they appreciate this knowledge? Let me actually divide this. He did his best, right? Four Vedas, Puranas, etc. We read all that. But even after doing everything, he felt dissatisfaction. Here also, Brahma, one way, he's doing his seva, right? He created four Kumaras, then Rudra, then the 10 sons. And even after doing all this service, dissatisfied. And there, what happens? Narad Muni appears. But how does Narad Muni appear? It's not that Vyasadeva takes a cell phone and says, Narad Muni, I have a question. Right? Narad Muni just comes there, just appears. But how does Narad Muni appear? Again, it was Krishna's inspiration. That he sent his guru. Right? And here also, it is actually Krishna doing the task. So both way we see that situations, they are doing their best, but after that, it was the seva is successful only with Krishna's blessings or Krishna's intervention in that particular pastime.
thank you. And the other one was the sages. He created the 10 sages. Did they also create progeny, like Marichi and like all those?
It will come later, right? Daksha and all those, yeah, it will come later. But
he was still dissatisfied that they, because Daksha created so many progeny, right? Like I was thinking him and his wife and.
So it will come later. We'll be reading about all these. The 10 personalities were created and how did they create progeny. But it wasn't in the way that Brahma was actually thinking. Right? Because Swayambhuva Manu is said to be the father of mankind. So actually he is from whom the entire actually creation, progeny continues. And these, they are involved, but not to the extent. That's why it says a deficiency. Like it wasn't wrong, but it wasn't complete. It wasn't the best of what Brahma could actually create.
Okay, thank you.
Prabhu, I just want to mention that I have heard in this class that the 10 sages, they were doing the austerities first, and then they were very much penance oriented. They were not right away going into progeny, and also the women were not there. As we see, the first three women, Akuti, Prasuti, and Devahuti, were coming from Swayambhu Manu, and then the whole, then they were.
Yes,
mixing and the-
yes, nice point. That there was actually, yes, okay, the sages are there, but there is no wives to actually get them married to create progeny. But this was like, if you see, Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, they came together and they were like the ideal couple to create progeny. Right? It was just like, okay, that's it. This is what I have been waiting for. But it wasn't Brahma who himself did it, but it was actually Krishna who used Brahma's body to create these two personalities. Okay, so let's continue with our chapter number 13. So let's just read the translation 1, 2, 3, 4. We already discussed, and then we'll continue with text number 5. So text 1, let's go ahead. So Vidura's inquiries about Swayambhu Manu.
Maybe Divinity Leela Mukherjee can start. I'll put the book list.
Text 1. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, O king, after hearing all these most virtuous topics from the sage Maitreya, Vidura inquired further on the topics of Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he adored to hear.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
Gopinathacharya.
Vidura said, O great sage, what did Swayambhu, the dear son of Brahma, do after obtaining his very loving wife?
O best of the virtuous, the original king of kings, Manu, was a great devotee of the personality of Godhead, Hari, and thus it is worth hearing of his sublime character and activities. Please describe them. I am very eager to hear.
This word particularly uses the word, this verse uses the word Shraddha-dhanaya. Shraddha-dhanaya means eagerness or to hear with faith. Vidura was saying, I am very eager to hear. Please don't stop. Please continue. But why? They're just like husband and wife. You want to hear about their family life. Why is it so important? No, because Swayambhu Manu, he is what? Vishwaksena Ashraya. Vishwaksena Ashraya. He is actually a devotee of the Supreme Personality who has taken Ashraya of the personality of Godhead. Hence, hearing about him is actually most virtuous, right? Most virtuous. Okay. Then text 4.
Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouth of pure devotees about the character and activities of pure devotees. Pure devotees always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead who awards him his devotees liberation. Hare Krishna.
Shrutasya pumsam suchirashamasya. Right? Maybe you all can say on your mute line. Shrutasya pumsam suchirashamasya. Nanva anjasa surabhir idito arthaha. Tattad gunanu shravanam mukunda. Padar vindam hridayeshu yesham. Right? So what is the artha? What is the artha? What is the goal of shrutasya, of hearing? Right? What is the goal of hearing? And what kind of hearing? Hearing from suchira and shramasya, hearing for a very long time, and which actually involves a lot of labor or dedication. But what is the goal of all this? Nanva anjasa suribhir, to actually hear about the devotees of the Lord. The goal of all kinds of hearing is finally to hear about the pure devotees of the Lord, to hear about their bhakti to Krishna. That is the goal of our hearing. And what kind of devotees? Tatta gunanu shravanam mukundam. Right? And then Padaravinda Hridayeshu Yesham. Those devotees who are always thinking of guna, who are actually always hearing, who are thinking about the guna, the transcendental qualities of Mukunda Padaravinda, always thinking of the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is actually within their heart. Hridayeshu Yesham, who is seated in the heart of every living entity. Right? So there are those devotees who are always hearing, always thinking about the qualities, the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To those devotees, we have to hear their Harikatha. And hence, Srimad Bhagavatam is actually the highest, Amala Purana, the best of all scriptures, because the focus of Srimad Bhagavatam is on the pure devotees and their devotion to the Lord. Right? And we mentioned this point. There are other Puranas. They talk of Narsimha, Lord Narsimha, his appearance there is coming soon. They talk of not Narsimha. But the point here is in this Srimad Bhagavatam, the emphasis is on Prahlad Maharaj rather than Narsimha Dev. Right? So hence this is actually the most nectarian, and hence even in third verse, what do we say? Rasam Alayam. This is actually the abode of rasa, because it's all about the devotee's devotion to the Lord. And just by reading this, what will happen? Bhakti Utpate Pumsham, because it's all about that bhakti, all about the bhakta. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, then bhakti will actually get Utpadate, will awaken in the core of our heart. Right? And that's why it's so wonderful to read Srimad Bhagavatam, to study Srimad Bhagavatam, because this itself will awaken bhakti in the core of our heart. Okay? Okay, so that's the text number 4. So any other points or comments up to this point?
Prabhu, I was wondering, I mentioned it last class also, that this verse is actually making me realize, this was my realization that day, last Sunday, that I should be very seriously studying Chaitanya Charitamrita more, because like, you know, how Bhagavatam, the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is to know about pure devotee, and CC is,
All
you
out.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
actually.
there is another book, I mean, I'm sure you know it, it's called Bhakti Ratnakar.
Yes.
It tells about Mahaprabhu's second generation devotee, their life, and Sarva Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, even Vishnu Chakrabarti Thakur, Maharaj, all these, you know, great saints, you know. Prabhupada, Lilamrita should be the purpose, end of reading Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. And so interesting, while in the starting of Srimad Bhagavatam, what does Prabhupada do? He gives the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because for us, how do we understand Srimad Bhagavatam? only through the life and mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? And only through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will this the highest essence of bhakti be revealed to us. Right? Yes, other Vaishnavas will also study Srimad Bhagavatam, they may appreciate and everything, but that highest nectar which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually giving, that prema in the mood of separation, that you will be able to appreciate only if you go through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you'll realize that that is the essence of everything, to actually develop the Vipralamba Bhav to Krishna. Okay, so let's continue text number 5. This is Sanskrit.
Shri Shuka Uvacha iti Bhuvanam Viduram Vinitam Sahasra Shirshnash Charanopadhanam Prarishtaro Bhagavat Kathayam Praniyamano Munirabhya Chashta.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. The division of grass time is calculated as follows. 2 autumn.
Mataji, text, chapter 13, text 5.
Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna was pleased to place his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura because Vidura was very meek and gentle. The sage Maitreya was very pleased with Vidura's words and being influenced by his spirit, he attempted to speak. Hare Krishna. Sorry about that, Mataji.
Okay. So, before we hear any conversation, first is what? We have to hear the glories of the speaker and the hearer, right? So Sukadeva Goswami is saying, and he says, Iti Bhruvana, Vidura, thus actually speaking this, having said these questions. And how did he say that? Vinitam. Vinitam means in a very gentle way. In a very gentle way, Vidura has asked these questions. And what is so Maitreya Rishi is hearing these questions, and when he's hearing these questions, what is he thinking? He's actually thinking that Sahasra Shirsha. Sahasra Shirsha means what? 1,000-headed personality, right? And I'll tell you why this 1,000-headed. So the personality of Godhead who has 1,000 heads, Charana Upadanam, right? The lotus feet of that 1,000-headed personality, Upadanam, pillow. What? Pillow? What is pillow here? Well, hearing Bhagavatam in your pillow? What is a pillow here, right? Pillow, like you see word to word, Upadanam pillow. Prahasta Roma. So if you see up to the first 2 lines, it's like, okay, Vidura speaking in a very gentle way, 1,000-headed Lord whose lotus feet is on a pillow. Okay, it doesn't make sense till now. Then he says, Prahasta Roma. And just by thinking of that, his Roma, his hairs are standing on end, right? Bhagavad Kathaya, in relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Praniya Manha, being influenced by such spirit. Muniha, the great sage Maitreya, he attempted to speak, right? So what is this pillow? I mean, like if you just see word to word, it doesn't make sense. Where does pillow come in this whole conversation, right? So the translation, which Prabhupada is actually explaining that Maitreya Rishi, what was he thinking? He was thinking that Supreme Personality of Godhead, why 1,000 head? But particularly to refer to how the Lord has so many diverse energies, so many activities, that unlimited Lord. And what did he do? Charana Upadanam, where Vidura acted as a pillow for the lotus feet of the Lord. Let's describe that then when Krishna actually used to come to Vidura's place, Krishna was so pleased that he actually placed his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura. So Vidura acted as a pillow for the charana of that 1,000-headed Lord, or the Lord with unlimited opulences. And Maitreya Rishi is actually thinking, I am speaking Bhagavad Katha to Vidura, but see how fortunate is Vidura. The Lord himself has actually used Vidura as his pillow to actually place his lotus feet. And why did the Lord actually do this? Like certainly Vidura is such an exalted personality, but also Vidura had all these, anxieties in his mind because he was involved with the Dhritarashtra and the Pandavas and the kingdom and all these, like, oh no, Dhritarashtra have tried to explain him so many times. When will he get intelligence? Like all these anxieties. But as soon as Krishna used to come and place the lotus feet, his charana, on Vidura as a pillow, then all his anxieties used to go away. You know? And Maitreya Rishi is thinking, I am so fortunate to be speaking to Vidura, that he has such personal interactions with the Lord. You know. So the speaker of Bhagavatam is saying how the hearer is so fortunate, and I am so, I am actually, my hairs are standing on end because I have the opportunity to associate with such an exalted personality. And to actually continue the association, I'm going to attempt to speak Bhagavad Gita. Right? So that is this verse. Very nice verse. Right? So he says here, Supreme Personality was pleased to place his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura. And why? Because Vidura was Vinitam, very gentle, very soft-hearted. Right? Right. So Prabhupada says that Sahasra Shishnaha is very significant. It means that one who has diverse energies, activities, and a wonderful brain. Right? So basically saying the Lord who is unlimited, that Lord, he placed his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura. Okay. And whose hair is standing on end? Maitreya Rishi, because he's thinking of the great fortune of Vidura. Okay. So now he started speaking. And one thing is, okay, one more point I want to mention. If you go back to text number 1, we discussed this word in text number 1, which is adrataha. Right? If you remember at that point, I actually said that our acharyas give 2 meanings to the word adrita. One meaning is that, yes, Vidura is very eager to hear Krishna Katha, right? So hence Vidura, so in this way, Vidura inquired because he is actually so interested to hear. He has that interest to hear, natural inclination to hear, hence he asks further. The other point is Vidura, who was respected by Maitreya, right? So here Adrataha, referring to that Maitreya Rishi is saying that, oh, Vidura, you are so fortunate, which is actually elaborated in text number 5, and hence he uses the word Adrataha, that actually Vidura having respect or attention, or the other meaning, Vidura who was respected by Maitreya Rishi because of his sweet dealings with the Lord. Right? And hence he spoke. Okay, so now we'll start the Maitreya Rishi will speak from text number 6. Okay.
Maitreya Uvacha Yada Swaparyaya Sardham Jata Swayambhuvo Manuhu Pranjali Pranataschedam Vedagarbham Abhashata.
Hare Krishna. The sage Maitreya said to Vidura, after his appearance, Manu, the father of mankind, along with his wife, thus addressed the reservoir of Vedic wisdom, Brahma, with obeisances and folded hands. Hare Krishna.
So the question is, what did Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa do? Right? How did they unite? So first thing, what Swayambhuva Manu did? Here it says, Yada Swa Bharyaya. Bharyaya. Bharyaya means Bharya. Like we hear this word also, like means wife. Right? So here it says, so he accompanied by his wife, right? Sardham accompanied by his wife. After they appeared, Swayambhuva Manu, then he actually, what did he do? Pranjalihi. Pranjali, maybe you have heard this word. Pranjali means folded hands, right? With folded hands. And then what did he do? Pranataha. Pranataha means obeisances. So he offered obeisances to Brahma. He folded his hands and abhasata. Abhasata means like to address with a lot of respect, with a lot of awe and veneration. And who did he address? Vedagarbha. Right? Who is Vedagarbha? It's actually Brahmaji himself, right? And to the reservoir of all Vedic wisdom, my Swayambhuva Manu, along with his wife, he is actually folded hands and obeisances addressing Brahmaji. Okay, what did he say? Text number 7.
Tvam eka sarva bhutanam janma krid vridita pita tathapina prajanam te shushusha kena va bhavet. Prarthana Mataji.
You are the father of all living entities and the source of their subsistence. Because they are all born of you, please order us how we may be able to render service unto you. Thank you.
So here it says, first he is glorifying. Like, it's a very natural culture of Srimad Bhagavatam. When you speak to someone, first you glorify that personality. So now Swayambhuva Manu is glorifying Brahmaji. And how is he glorifying? Tvam eka sarva bhutanam. You are actually one. You are the source of all the living entities, the progenitor of all living entities, because everyone is going to come from Brahmaji. Hence, you are actually the eka sarva bhutanam Janmakrit. So all these living entities, you are the progenitor. Then second, he actually said, Vritidaha. You are the source of subsistence of all living entities. Not only that you are the creator, the progenitor, but you also will sustain all these living entities. And Pitaha, you are like the father, right? And then Prajana, because they are all born of you. All the living entities are born of you. Hence you are Eka Sarvabhutanam Janmakrit, you are Vritidaha, and you are Pita, right? Third. Now he says, then further he says, Shushusho Kena Vabhave, right? So please tell us, right, how we can Shushusha. Shushusha means actually render service to you, right? So please order us how we may be able to render service of you. How is this in contrast with 4 Kumaras? Right? 4 Kumaras were born, Brahma said, do this, and they said no. And here we see the mood of Swayambhu Manu with full respect. He's coming and saying, like with that mood that, okay, you're asking a question with that intention that whatever is given, I'm going to follow. And that's why the previous verse gives that entire mood in which Swayambhu Manu is approaching Brahmaji. Right? So please tell us how we can serve. And Prabhupada says in the purport, he says, a son's duty is not only to make the father the source of supply for all needs, right? Because naturally, when we are growing up, we say, "Oh, father, give me this, give me that. Provide for my education. Send me to school. Give me latest." Now it's all like the demands are going on increasing. Now, buy me a new car, a new Tesla. Buy me this. It says like the son's duty is not only to make the father the source of supply, but also when the son has grown up. Okay, up to a point, yes, he's dependent on the father, but as he grows up, there's a duty of the father to render service to, duty of the son to render service to the father. And this is the mood in which a son should approach the father and say, "Oh, father, you please instruct me. You have given me so much. You have supplied for me. You have maintained. You are the progenitor. You are the sustainer. Now it is my duty to serve you. So please tell me how I can serve you." Okay, next verse. Text A.
Tadvidehi namastubhyam karma svidyatma shaktishu yakritveha yasho vishvag amudra cha bhavet gatihi.
Hare Krishna. O worshipful one, please give us your direction for the execution of duty within our working capacity, so that we can follow it for fame in this life and progress in the next.
Thank you. So basically now he's saying, yes, please give us instruction. But how is he saying? Okay, Idya means, oh, worshipful one, right? He's saying, oh, worshipable one or worshipful one. He's saying Idya. So he's addressing Brahmaji, again showing so much respect, so much awe. He's saying, Brahmaji, you're so worshipable. And Namaha Tubhyam, I offer my obeisances unto you. Namaha Tubhyam. Remember, we have heard these words before. Namaha Tubhyam. Anyone remembers? Namaha Tubhyam.
Namaste, Subhadra.
Yes. Yeah, very nice. This actually when Sukdev Goswami, he actually offers prayers after, like when Parikshit Maharaj asks question, immediately he says, okay, this is the answer. But then he says, okay, this conversation is going to go longer. Let me offer obeisance. In 4th chapter of 2nd canto, we read all the prayers that Sukdev Goswami offers to the Lord. And there he says, Namaha Tubhyam, right? So you see the word Namaha Tubhyam. So my obeisance unto you. And then further he says what? Videhi Karmasu. Give us direction to do videhi, to actually do our karmasu, to actually do our activities. So you please tell me how I should act, which will be in pleasure, which will give pleasure to you. But further he says, Atma Shaktishu. Why does he say within our working capacity? He's coming to Brahmaji, he's saying, please instruct us. but he's saying, give me instructions within our working capacity. What does this mean to you?
Like giving the service whatever the capacity the devotee can take.
Okay, but is that important for Swayambhu Manu to actually say that? So I was thinking about this point that, when you come to the Guru, your mood is, unconditional surrender. Guru Maharaj, whatever you, please instruct me, I want to serve you, I want to please you. But here it seems that Swayambhu Manu is giving a condition. Please give me instruction, which is within my working capacity. And I was thinking that why he's actually saying this? Because Brahmaji has such a great task at hand. So let's say your guru has this whole project of building like a big, huge temple. And you're going to a guru and saying, Guru Maharaj, how can I serve you? Please tell me instructions only to my capacity, because you know that Guru Maharaj has such a big task, seva to do, and you are like, okay, I will do my best. Like, please don't give me instructions that, okay, you build the temple, I'll go and preach. It's not within my capacity. So give something which is within my capacity. So Swayambhu Manu, understanding how big a task Brahmaji has, he's saying, give something which is within my capacity, and so that we can follow it for fame in this life and progress in the next. Right? So fame in this life, why? Is Swayambhu Manu concerned about his own fame? No, he wants to act in such a way that it would actually, like how we say, a disciple should act in such a way that it makes the guru proud. And the real fame of a person is when he is a glorious disciple of his spiritual master. Right? So even for us, when we actually are the best version of ourselves, when we are the best disciple of our guru, the glorious disciple of our guru, so that we can follow for fame in this life and progress in the next. Right? If we are a good disciple, then naturally next life we will actually attain perfection. Right? So Prabhupada in the purport, he says, Brahma is a direct recipient of Vedic knowledge from Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, anyone discharging his entrusted duties is sure to gain fame in this world and salvation next. Right? So even we can say the same point. Right? What is our point? That Srila Prabhupada is in a disciplic succession coming directly from Krishna himself. He is the bona fide representative of Krishna. And if we actually follow, discharge the duties that Srila Prabhupada has given us, his instructions, then what will happen? We'll gain fame in this world, and next life we'll attain perfection. For sure. No doubt about that. Right? And Prabhupada talks about so there's disciplic succession from Brahma, which is actually the spiritual line, right? Brahmaji, then Narada, then Vyasadev, then in our line we will go through Madhvacharya and all those acharyas, right? That is one line. And the other line is genealogical. That means from Manu, which is more like a material line. But both the lines, if you consider, so Prabhupada and purport, he lists Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhva, and then Padmanabha, Narhari coming down to Srila Prabhupada. Right? So that is one line. Where here he's talking of the genealogical line coming from Brahma, then Swayambhu Manu, right, and Shatarupa, and then Uttanapad, Priyavrata, and so on. So it's another line. But Prabhupada ends and he says, both are on the progressive march towards the same goal of Krishna consciousness. Either it is disciplic line or it is the genealogical line, but both of them have the one goal, that is to progress in their Krishna consciousness. Okay. Next, text number 9. Okay, so this is what Swayambhu Manu has spoken to Brahma. Now, how will Brahma respond to it? Right? So we see Brahma Vacha, text number 9.
Brahmavacha pritastubhyam aham tata swastistadvam shitishvara yanirvyalikena rida shadhi medyatmanarpitam. Lord Brahma said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I'm very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions.
So here, how is Brahmaji addressing Swayambhu Manu? Right? And this is a very nice point. Again, the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam, that, Swayambhu Manu is created from Brahma. So you could say, my son, do this. But how he is glorifying his son and saying, yes, he says, my dear son, he says, Tata, my dear son. But he also says, O Lord of the world, right? He says, Shiti Ishvara. He's calling his son as Shiti Ishvara. Now, Brahmaji is actually the creator, right? And above that is Krishna himself. But he's saying, oh, you, Swayambhu Manu, you are the Lord of the world. And I was thinking of this point, that how he's actually encouraging his son, that you have a big seva to do. So first he's actually encouraging, you are the Lord of the world, because from you, all the descendants are going to come. Right? So, oh Lord of the world. And then he says, Priti means I am very pleased unto you. Tubhyam, I'm very pleased with you. Right? And we see before how he was not pleased with his other sons, Kumara, but here he's very pleased with Swayambhu Manu. And why is he so pleased? Because Swayambhu Manu has approached with such a mood of humility and full surrender. And here we see Yan Nirvyalikena. Nirvyalikena is without reservation. You have actually surrendered unto me. Right? And you have come and asked me, surrendered, arpitam, right? Without reservation, you have actually surrendered unto me. Hridasati, with your heart for my instructions, right? With your heart, you have surrendered unto me to receive my instructions. Hence, I am very pleased with you. And then Swasti Star. Swasti Star means all blessings upon you. All blessings upon you, because you have approached me with such surrender, without reservation, and with your complete heart. Right? So that's the verse here. So Prabhupada in the purpose says, the relationship between father and son is always sublime. Father naturally is disposed with goodwill towards his son, and the father is always ready to help the son in his progress. Right? Isn't very nicely Prabhupada says, what's the mood of father? Always is naturally disposed. Whatever is my son, I wish him all goodwill. Swasti, right? Swasti, all good be upon you. And if you need any help, I'm there to help. Right? Right. Then Prabhupada says further, if son unreservedly is willing to actually serve the father, be guided by the father, then the father becomes 10 times more eager to instruct the son. Right? So naturally the father wants to instruct the son, wishes good will, but when the son actually comes to the father with such mood of surrender, such mood of following the instruction, then father becomes 10 times more eager to instruct and guide the son. Right? So this excellent behavior between father and son is actually shown between the relationship between Brahma and Swayambhu Manu. Okay. Next verse, text number 10.
Etavatyatmajarvira karyaya pachiturgurau shaktya pramatayar grihyayita sadharam gatamatsarai.
Translation. O hero, your example is quite befitting a son in relationship with his father. This sort of adoration for the superior is required. One who is beyond the limit of envy and who is the same accepts the order of his father with great delight and executes it to his full capacity.
So here he is glorifying his son, as he's saying, because Bhagavatam is also teaching us what is the relationship between an ideal son and father. So he's saying, what are the qualities that actually makes you such a glorious, like a hero, like a Veera, right? And what is the word Matsarahi? We have heard this word before, right? What does Matsarahi mean?
Non-envious.
What, Prabhuji?
Non-envious.
Non-envious, right? Where do we hear this word? Matsaraha. Nirmatsaranam satam. Yeah. Nirmatsaranam satam. So he's saying here you are actually gata matsarahi. You're actually beyond envy. And apramatahi, and sane, right? Because of these two qualities, because you have these two qualities, you are actually Shaktya and Sadaram, right? You have actually worship, and then so these two are the main qualities, and then because of that, he says first, Apachitir Guru. You worship the Guru, or worship or accept the instructions of the Guru, and how? With Shaktya and The second word is sa adaram, with great delight. Right? So, because you are free of envy and you are sane, these two qualities, you accept the instructions of the Guru with your full capacity and with great delight. Right? Hence, your example is so befitting. Etavati Atmaji. Every offspring should be exactly like you. Every son should be exactly like you, because you are free of envy and you are sane. And hence you have accepted my instructions with full capacity and with great delight. Right? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, those who have envy, right, what will happen to them? If a son has envy, the father will say, oh, you should do this. This is for your best interest. And the son will say, why should I follow my father? I know better than my father. Right? Isn't it? Like when you come to teenage years, then we think, I know better my father. My father doesn't understand. He's old generation. I know better, right? That is envy, right? So because out of envy, then we say, why should I follow the order? But if one is free from envy, then he'll surrender. He'll say, okay, this is what you say. I accept it with full capacity and with great delight. Now, can anyone say this word adaram? Right? Sa adaram. Or maybe you may not be able to relate to this, but sa adaram. I was thinking of this word. This comes also in Nectar of the Instruction, where Rupa Goswami says, how should we chant? He says, Adarat Anudinam. Anudinam means every day you have to chant. But Adarat, that word here, if you see, it comes from Adaram, with great delight. So when we chant the holy name, how should it be? Every day with great attention, with great delight, with great respect. With, that's the word. Adara is actually a very deep word that Rupa Goswami uses in Nectar of the Veds. And same word we are here seeing here. Sa Adaram. With great delight, you accept the instruction. With great delight, you chant the holy name. Right? Okay. So Prabhupada mentioned the point that how the four Kumaras, when they refused the order, Brahma was mortified. But here, Brahma is so pleased with Swayambhuva Manu that he's actually saying, Swasti, all blessings unto you. He's so pleased and so happy with the behavior of Swayambhuva Manu. Okay. Text number 11.
Sattvam asyam apatyani sadrishanyatmano gunai utpadya shashadharmena gam yagyai purusham yaja.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Since you are my very obedient son, I ask you to beget children qualified like yourself in the womb of your wife. Rule the world in pursuance of the principles of devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus worship the Lord by performance of yajna. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so very nice verse and purport. So he says Saha. Saha, to actually say, because you are such an obedient son, and then he says, I'm going to give you 3 instructions. Okay, so here Brahmaji is giving 3 instructions, Swayam Brahman. What is the first one? Tvam asyam apatyani, right? Sahasrani atmana. So first 3 words means first you apatyani, you get children. Right? You beget children. And he gave the same instruction to the 4 Kumaras. You beget children. But further he says, what quality of the child? I want children to be just like you, because you're so surrendered. You're so free of envy. You're so sane. So he says, Sadashrani Atmanaha, who are actually equally qualified, with as yourself in Gunaha. Gunaha means in qualities, right? So you have, please beget children in you, in your wife, who are actually equally qualified in characteristics. That's the first instruction. Second is Shasha Dharmena. Shasha means to rule, right? Dharmena means you rule the earth in a very religious way, right? And then third is what? Yagyahi Purusham Yajaha, right? You worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by performing sacrifices. So 3 instructions. What is the first instruction? Beget children who are equally qualified as you in characteristics. Second instruction, rule the earth religiously, dharmena. And third one, worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by sacrifices. Okay. So Prabhupada in the purport gives a very interesting purport, right? So everyone okay? 3 instructions and Brahma gives Swayambhava, right? So what is the first line of the purport? So the purpose of material creation is clearly described here. What is it? What is the purpose of material creation?
RRA.
RRA, okay. What is it?
For worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service.
Reform our rebellious attitude, worshiping the Supreme Personality of God. Yeah. So, but here, if you see, Prabhupada says, what is the purpose of material creation? Every human being should beget nice children in the womb of his wife as a sacrifice for worshipping Krishna. Now, why is Prabhupada saying this? As the purpose of creation. You know? So, it's very interesting that this point Prabhupada mentions that, okay, we are here in this world, right? And certainly, like, the world is continuing because we have progeny, right? We have children. But how do we actually, okay, so let's step back let's step back, right? So why are here in this world? We are conditioned jivas. And what is our greatest knot which is keeping us here in this world? Pumsa striya mithuni bhava eta, right? The attraction to the opposite sex, right? And then because of that, that is the desire for union. But that union is there, but if that union is done in the mood of sacrifice, as soon as children come, what happens? You have to sacrifice. You sacrifice your time, you sacrifice your energy, you have to sacrifice like other things. My job, I cannot work anymore because I have a child. Sacrifice so many things. So the Krishna has created the creation in such a way that as soon as there's a desire for uniting together, there is sacrifice connected with it. But if that sacrifice is done for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that way one can actually elevate oneself and progress on the spiritual journey. So this system that Prabhupada is talking about is the system of Varnashram. Right? So brahmachari is there. Then as soon as grahastha ashram is there, union is there. And union is there because you are trained in brahmachari ashram, you will do the union as a sacrifice for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So one system, so Prabhupada in this purport focuses on the Varnashram dharma. And he quotes this verse, Varnashrama charatvata purushena parapuma Vishnur aradhyate pantha nanya tattosha karanam. What does this verse say? One can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by what? By following the principles of Varna and Ashram. And then Nanyat, na anyat. Right? This is like there is no other way. I say like how we say Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevala Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyata. Na Anyatha. Right? Na Anyatha, no other way. So this verse is saying Na Anyat Tattosha Karanam. Actually, there is no other way of pleasing the Lord rather than to follow the principles of Varna and Ashrama. But is this our philosophy? Yes or no?
Maybe for the beginners, but then as you advance, it's
Our philosophy is Haritoshanam. So here Prabhupada is saying that even in Varnashram Dharma, you can do everything for the pleasure of Lord.
Okay, but if you see the verse, it says there is no alternative to pacify the Lord rather than to execute the principles of Varnashram Dharma. So the emphasis here is on Varnashram Dharma, right? And if you see CC Madhya, chapter number 8. What is chapter number 8? Anyone knows?
conversation with Ramananda Rai.
Yes, conversation of Ramananda Rai. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, what is the highest goal in life? Right? And Ramananda Rai quotes this verse. Varnashrama, following the principles of Varnashrama is the highest. And what does Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? Eho bhaya age kaha ar. This is external. Speak more higher. Go more deeper. right? So on one hand, we see that yes, Varnashrama we are not neglecting Varnashrama. For almost all of us, the Varnashrama principles are important because, okay, now we are in Grihastha Ashram, we follow the rules of Grihastha Ashram, but we do it in such a way that we want to do it as an offering to the Lord. Right? We want to do it as a Atapumbir Dvijashreshta Varnashrama Vibhagasa Swanastistasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshana. Right? We are following the principles of Varna, how? Samsiddhir Haritoshana, in the mood of giving pleasure. So Varnashrama is important because for most of us, most of even devotees and the rest of the world outside, Varnashrama principles are important. But is that the highest? If it is leading us to bhakti, yes, to our highest bhakti, then yes, we accept. But if someone comes and says, I don't want to follow Varnashram, I am in brahmachari, I want to take sannyas immediately. If the guru sees that the person is actually qualified to that, he'll say, okay, don't go, right? Don't take. How Narad Muni, he came to the sons of Daksha. And this will come later in Bhagavatam. Daksha, not this Daksha, what we are reading now. Again, one more Daksha comes later. And he creates first 100,000 sons. Right? 100,000 sons. Imagine 100,000 sons. And they say, okay, we have to create progeny. Let's do austerity first. And they go for austerity. And then they meet a Hare Krishna devotee, a brahmachari. He says, like, what? You're entering Grihastha Ashram? You don't know how much entanglement in Grihastha Ashram is there? Just keep it. No need to do Grihastha Ashram. Just take sannyas. Become brahmachari, long-time brahmachari. Every day we'll go out, Sankirtan, whole day, book distribution, Harinam. That's life. Forget all this, paying the mortgage and all this. And what happens? All 100,000, they say, okay, Narad Muni, we are in your brahmachari ashram. Accept us. And that's it. And Daksha becomes like so angry. So like, I created all these children to create progeny. And see Narad Muni, he's created, became, and put all of them in the brahmachari ashram. And that's it. Right? And then Daksha said, okay, Narad Muni, too much. Next time, he says, okay, 10,000 children. 10,000 children. And then again they say, okay, time for austerity before procreation. And then what happens? Again, Narad Muni sees another group of children. He goes there, 10,000 children. Again he preaches. Why Grihastha Ashram? Take brahmachari. We'll go out every day, book this student, so much fun. No need to pay taxes. No, nothing. Just chant Hare Krishna, be happy. And again, they all become brahmachari. And then Daksha becomes so angry at Narad Muni. He makes the point that Narad Muni, you're not right by converting all my sons into brahmacharis. And why he says that? He says that all of them first have to experience Grihastha Ashram and go through this Varnashram, and then later on they take, that is okay. So, see, Daksha's point was more from the Varnashram, focusing on this verse. Narad Muni's point was Parodharma. Whatever is favorable, if Varnashram you have to reject to actually attain the Parodharma, that is our essential thing. Right? So we see that difference. So Prabhupada in his purport, up to the last, he focuses on Varnashram, and towards the end of the purport, he actually says, however, if one directly engages in a process of devotional service, it may not be necessary to undergo through all the principles of Varnashram. Right? So this is a very important point. And in a devotee circle, often we talk about, is Varnashram important, not important, how much, we should follow Varnashram. But this verse is actually very nicely explaining the principles. Okay, text number 12.
Param sushrushanam mayam syat praja rakshaya nripa bhagavam ste praja bhartur rishikesho nutushyati.
Hare Krishna translation. O King, if you can give proper protection to the living beings in the material world, that will be the best service for me. When the Supreme Lord sees you to be a good protector of the conditioned souls, certainly the master of the senses will be pleased with you. Hare Krishna.
So, here it says, Param Shushrusanam Mayam, that you will actually give me the greatest satisfaction. By doing what? So, he already gave one task to Swayambhu Manu. What was that? Create children as glorious as you, with the same qualities that you have, right? So not only the question is of creating progeny, right? You have to get qualified a progeny. That's the first thing, Garbhadan Samskar. You get qualified. But does the chapter end at that point? Actually, the real chapter starts after getting children, right? So now he's saying, yes, you will do the highest service to me when what? The praja, the living entities who are going to be born, Rakshaya, you save them from being spoiled. Like this is like perfect for parents, for grahasthashram. Not only bringing good children into this world, that is first task, but second is protecting them from being spoiled. If you do that, then Brahmaji is saying that is the greatest service you will do unto me, O king. And then further he says, Bhagavan, and then Praja Bhartu, you protect when you are actually, he says, and when the Bhagavan, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead sees you as Praja Bhartur, as the protector of all living entities, when you're protecting everyone from being spoiled, then Rishikesha, who is actually the Lord of the senses, what will happen? Anutushyati. He will be very satisfied with you. Right? So previous verse we said that you do the principles, how? Some say the Haritoshana. But here Brahmaji is saying how you actually do that. So when you get progeny, you actually protect them from being spoiled. And when the Lord sees that you are Praja Bhartur, you are the protector of all living entities, then he will be very pleased with you. Right? So Grahasthashram is not only bringing good children into this world, but beyond that, if the children are actually developing in their Krishna consciousness, then the Lord is very pleased. He says, like, your Grahasthashram is successful. Like, what did Bhakti Sansway Thakur say? He is a Naishtika Brahmachari, isn't it? But what did he say? If I can produce Krishna conscious children, bring Krishna conscious devotees all around the world, then I will actually unite so many types. Basically making the point that the main thing is to get devotees. And he's saying, like, as a grahastha, if we are getting Krishna conscious devotees, then the Lord is very pleased and says that is the success of your grahastha ashram, that your children are becoming devotees of the Lord. Okay. So Prabhupada says the whole administrative system is arranged to go back home, back to Godhead. First sentence of the purport. Right? So Brahma is a representative, Manu is a representative, Brahma is representative of Krishna, Manu is a representative of Brahmaji, and all the kings are actually supposed to be the representatives. Hence, we have this something called Manu Samhita, the law book of entire mankind, which actually directs all living entities towards transcendental service of the Lord. Right? So hence, every king, their responsibility is what? To see personally that the citizens are being trained in Vishnu worship and engaged in devotional service to Lord Rishikesh. If you think about this point, how far are we from the ideal? We can think how Kalyug has degraded to such an extent. Like here, what is the ideal that the king should do? King should actually personally see that all my citizens, get up 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m., Mangala Aarti, worship Vishnu. That is the duty of a king, right? Engage them in devotional service. But now what is in Kali Yuga, it is so degraded. People say like, oh, he's too religious. He should become secular to become actually a king, to be a government head or something. I mean, it's like totally opposite, right? People don't even care about the character, the nature of the person. Okay, whatever. Elect someone, as long as he does not increase the price of our meat, our eggs, our, if it does not increase, then we are happy. Gas price, if he's keeping low, that's it. Whoever he is, we don't care. I mean, they're already so materialistic. It is exactly opposite. And we see like Kali Yuga is already so degraded that the ideal itself seems like, what? This is the ideal that the king should actually say. Imagine the government says, okay, tomorrow is Ekadashi. It comes on the president comes and says, tomorrow is Ekadashi. Everyone, you have to chant extra rounds tomorrow, right? So everyone can go to work 1 hour late to chant extra rounds. Imagine the president is actually arranging such things and he's making a public announcement. That is the ideal. That is the ideal. But we are so far that it seems like, What is that even possible? But that is what we see in the rule of like Ram Rajya, Yudhishthir, and all those things. This is our mood. Right? So Prabhupada says this is the responsibility of a king. Okay.
Although if government starts giving holidays and breaks to all the Vaishnava festivals, so there won't be any office, Prabhu.
Actually, see, I would say if the government is really focusing on the spiritual values, okay, like, okay, Hare Krishna religion, like, we have the highest philosophy for sure. But even if they are encouraging, okay, if you're a Christian, be a true Christian, actually follow the principle, or, whatever is your dharma, you actually follow. If the government is really emphasizing on this, then what will happen? Then naturally people will be less distracted from all the nonsense. And this is actually a shastra. People will be more committed at what they are doing. When they go at work, they won't be spending half the time on Facebook and doing this distraction. When they go to work, our senses are, purified. With the higher level of consciousness, you come to work and you'll be like, okay, let's work seriously, honestly. After I'm done, I can do my 8 hours of work in just 4 hours. I'll work, I'll go home and chant Hare Krishna. So actually, if you see, when these principles of religion are actually brought up, everything will become more efficient. People don't have to work for 8, 10, 12, 18 hours every day. People will do the same work in limited number of hours, and the whole system will actually come in such a perfect way, right? So our whole secret is, we are talking of good government, but good government starts when the government is a representative of God. And then
Yeah, but
everything
we don't have people nowadays like Yudhisthira. I mean, the leaders that we have, majority of them are corrupt.
Yeah.
And when they try to preach religion and force their philosophy onto others, I mean, that's a very dangerous step. It's not that they're trying to teach people God consciousness. They're trying to force people into a very narrow way of thinking. And so, I mean, I don't think that what we're reading here can be applied in today.
I mean, like, yes, we are seeing like a complete.
I mean, I cannot imagine me voting for somebody who is a evangelical Christian who is denying everybody else's beliefs and is trying to just enforce their own.
Right. Yeah. So that point is there for sure that, like we want a leader who would actually encourage God consciousness, right? Not just saying that, okay, this is the only way, everyone else is nonsense. Whatever is your path, if you're sincerely following, encourage that person on that path. Progress, and people are at different faiths, different levels. In 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we see Arjun asking Krishna, right? That question, the conversation is there between Krishna and Krishna says people are at different level in the modes of nature. So based on their mode, they will actually worship. But the point is, God consciousness has to be actually somehow or other encouraged. Whatever is your dharma, follow your dharma. If you're just like becoming atheist and just neglecting and materialistic society, consumerism, that's what is encouraged, then we are losing the whole point. Yeah, it is very far from the ideal, but we don't deny the ideal. It is still possible. It is still possible. And that was, at one point, in our ISKCON society, like how Prabhupada encouraged the disciple to form a party, a political party. And they actually started a party in, what is it called? In God We Trust or something like that. Yeah. That's the name of the party, In God We Trust, or something like that. I forget the name. But he actually encouraged. But after some point, he said, like, it's too corrupted. It's too corrupted. The whole system is so messed up that but the desire was there. And we want some people who are actually representatives of God, right? And encourage people in God consciousness. Okay. So in the last sentence, Prabhupada says, there is no other alternative in the discharge of administrative duty, right? So Prabhupada is really stressing. In the first canto throughout, we see Prabhupada emphasizing on this importance of, a proper government. And here again, we see the same thing. That is the purpose of the complete administrative system, right? Okay. Okay, so now we will do text 13. And then, okay. Yeah, let's continue text 13, please.
Yesham natushto bhagavan yagyalingo janardana tesham shamoya parthaya yadatma nadrita svayam. Vrindavan Vilasa.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardhan, Lord Krishna, is the form to accept all the results of sacrifice. If he is not satisfied, then one's labor for advancements is futile. He is the ultimate self, and therefore one who does not satisfy him certainly neglects his own interests. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So here there's actually a very nice verse. I think this is in Ratnamala. Yes, this is in Ratnamala. So one of the verses to memorize. And it's very nice. It says, Yesham na tushto Bhagwan. Right? So previously, what is the point in text number 12? He says, by protecting your progeny, what will happen? The Lord will be pleased. Rishikesha anutushyati. Rishikesha will be very pleased. But why satisfy the Lord? Why should one satisfy the Lord? And this verse is actually saying, right? It's saying, Yesham na tushto Bhagwan. If the Lord is not satisfied, Yagya Lingo Janardana, who is actually the form of sacrifice, sorry, if the Lord, who is the form of sacrifice, if he is not satisfied, then, so we see Yesham and Tesham. Right? Yesham, if the Lord is not satisfied, who is the form of all sacrifice, then Tesham, what will happen? Shamo hi aparthaya. Can you remember any other verse that comes to your mind with this? Shama.
Eva hi kevalam.
Shama eva hi kevalam. Exactly same point is made here. Right? Same point is made here. He's saying, Tesham shamo hi aparthaya. If you are not satisfying the Lord, then it is Shama eva hi kevalam. It is useless labor. It is aparthaya. It is without profit. Yet Atma nadita swayam. That means that it is because it is, if you're not, your labor is without profit. And why is that? Because you're not satisfying the ultimate self, right? Atma, or you're not actually satisfying your own self also. Hence, it's useless. See, if you're doing some activity which is not good for your own self, is that any use? Useless. If you're not doing any activity which is not satisfying the source of everyone, that is also useless because it's not in line with our own interests. So basically here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Ya Atma Nadrita Swayam means our own Atma is not respected. We are not respecting our own Atma if we are not doing anything, doing activities for the satisfaction of the Lord. And Prabhupada says in the purport, the whole the show of material creation is actually for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how is the Lord satisfied? How is the Lord satisfied? How is the Lord satisfied?
Devotional service.
Devotional service. And previously here he's saying you have to act in such a way that you give pleasure to the Lord, right? Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevana, right? By a process of devotional service. And what is one's own interest? Okay, so Prabhupada said, he often, like in the lectures, he quotes this verse, Nate vidu swartha gatim Vishnu. People do not even know what is a swa artha gatim. What is their own benefit? People do not know, right? And that is actually a real interest is to be engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of God. Okay. Okay. Next text 14 and 15. 14.
Manur uvacha adesheham bhagavato vartayami vasudana sthanam tvihanujanihi prajanam mamacha prabhu.
Okay, so before we read this, up to this point, so what did Swayambhuva Manu, what was his mood to Brahmaji? He came, he did folded hands, offered obeisance, and with great respect, he said, he glorified Brahmaji and said, please instruct me, tell me how I should act. Right? How did Brahma actually respond? He said, I'm very pleased with you. All blessings upon you. Why? Because you have come to me with an unconditional surrender and you're willing to accept my instructions. Hence, I am very pleased with you. right? Hence, I give you these 3 instructions. What are the 3 instructions Brahmaji gave Swayambhu Manu? First is create progeny as qualified as yourself. As you are, so you create progeny. Third, rule rule in a dharmic way, right? Religious way. And third is, what is the third one?
Worship the Lord in
The
sacrifice.
Lord by sacrifice, by yagya. And then further he says, if you actually like not only create progeny in such a nice way, but you also protect this progeny, then the Lord will be so satisfied with you. And then he says, actually, the whole point is to satisfy the Lord. Because if you are doing activities which are not giving pleasure to the Lord, then he says, what's the verse? Tesham shamo hi aparthaya. It is like shama eva hi kevala. It is useless labor because it's not for our own self-interest, and hence, it's not for the interest of the Supreme Personality of God. Okay. So now Manu will reply. Okay. So what does Manu say here? Translation.
Shri Manu said, O all-powerful Lord, O killer of all sins, I shall abide by your orders. Now please let me know my place and that of the living entities born of me. Hare Krishna.
So Manu is saying, O Prabhu, O my Lord, O all-powerful Lord, Bhagavataha, O powerful self, and then he says, says, Aham Varte, Adeshe, right? Aham Adeshe. So I will abide by your orders. You have given me instructions, I will follow. But there is a problem. There is one problem. What is the problem? He says, Iha anu janihi prajanam, and he's saying, please tell me, where will all the people, I'll create progeny, but where will they reside? I need a place where the progeny will reside, right? But isn't there the planets there? But there is a problem. Okay, next verse.
Yad oka sarva bhutanam mahi magna mahambhasi asya udharane yatno deva devya vidhiyatam.
O Master of the demigods, please attempt to lift the earth, which is merged in the great water, because it is bewildering. No, it is the dwelling place for all the living entities. It can be done by your endeavor and by the mercy of the Lord.
So previous verse he said, Manu said, please let me know which place all the living entities will reside. This Manu does not know. Manu does not know where all living entities are going to reside. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in this verse, he says, since you know the scriptures, do you know where the Manus and progeny lived in the previous kalpas? Yes, I know. I know. So Manu is actually saying, I know where they live, but then he's actually saying, because that Okaha, that dwelling place for Sarva Bhutanam, all living entities, is what? Earth. Mahi. Mahi is another word for the earth, right? But that Mahi, where is it right now? Magna Maha Ambasi. It is actually merged into the great waters. Hence, you please Udarane, you please attempt to lift it and put it back. You are what? Deva. You are the master of the demigods. So you can actually do this. Right? You can actually do this. So you please lift the earth, put it back in place, and then I will continue my task of progeny. Right? Hence, if you see Swayambhu Manu, he actually, when he said, I will follow their instructions, what did he say? He said, to my capacity. And hence he's saying now the earth is fallen off. It is into the great waters, unless it is beyond my capacity to lift the earth. But you are the master of demigod. You can lift the earth, put it back. I will continue my seva. Right? And hence he says, okay, now I'll continue, but you have a task. You are Devya Vidya Yatam. Right? So you are actually the master of demigods, and hence you can actually do this. Right? So here Prabhupada explains that the great water is the Garbhodak ocean. That the earth has actually fallen off into the Garbhodak ocean. And Swayambhu Manu is saying, please pick it up, put it back, and then I will continue my seva. Okay, let's stop here. So any comments, realizations up to this point?
Prabhu, a question. In 14 verse, it is in the translation, we have, O killer of the sins.
Amiva Sudana. Right.
Yeah. Brahmaji, how is that? Like, in context is at this time, Manu is telling this.
So the point here is, see, like, okay, someone gives you instructions. So the guru gives you instructions, right? And says like, okay, I want you to do this, this, and this. Right? And you say, okay, I will abide by your instruction. And to actually, express your faith in the guru, you will actually glorify the guru and say like, yes, if I follow your instructions, I'm sure I will actually be free from all sins. I will actually attain the highest perfection. So in that way, Swayambhu Manu is expressing to Brahmaji, just by following your instruction, I am sure I'll be free from sins. And previously also he said, I'll get fame in this world and I will get, next life, I'll get profit, like in the sense, salvation in the next life. Right? So actually to express his confidence in Brahmaji that I am accepting your instructions with full delight, without envy, is actually making this point. One way glorifying Brahmaji.
Probably this is a different, the earth also came off balance, and Hiranyaksha did that, taking all the gold. So this is different, right?
So that's what we're going to read in the next section. Right? So both we are going to read Hiranyaksha and also this section. Both is going to come in the next section. Okay, any comments, realizations, any points that you liked up to this point? And then we'll take a quick break.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I like that how you said that from here we can take the instruction that when we do our duties, for example, chanting even, we do it with great delight and execute it to our full capacity. And in the same translation, Prabhupada saying that we should have adoration for our superiors.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Any other points?
Prabhu, in verse number 9, when he's asking for the blessings, he's saying, I desire all blessings to both of you and your wife, Brahmaji is saying. So I was wondering, like, I desire, our parents does not really say, I desire you. He directly will say, I bless you, or Brahmaji also. But I was just thinking that, is it the correct way of saying that because Brahmaji is in so much love with Krishna, that he's blessing, please, my Lord, bless my son. I desire, my Lord, please, because in Chatushloka, after he said that I will bestow you with all your desires, Brahmaji. And we knew that how Brahmaji's creation was in sync with Krishna's creation. So whatever Brahmaji would desire, is Lord would definitely give him. So could that be the idea behind, I desire all the blessings to you, my son, and so sweet way of.
I mean, that's a very nice devotional interpretation, So then, like, things which like enhance devotion, and we're thinking, oh, Brahmaji is such a devoted, and hence he's saying that, that my desire is that Krishna blesses you. That way, you can say. Like Prabhupada here is actually making the point that, my desire is, I feel, from my side, my desire is that the best happens for you. Right? And Vishwanath Thakur is actually making the point that he says this is basically Brahmaji saying, let there be auspiciousness to both of you.
Mataji, we don't say blessings, we say we pray for blessings for you. Right? We don't give blessings, we say we pray that you be blessed. We pray to the Lord for blessings for our children. Right?
Okay. Anything else?
I like the Vidura being the pillow of Krishna, his lotus feet. And then whenever he had Lord Krishna's lotus feet on his lap, all his anxieties would go away.
Mhm. Mhm. So nice. So nice that we see the speaker of Bhagavatam is glorifying the hearer in such a nice way that he's thinking his hairs are standing on end, thinking about how qualified the hearer is, how fortunate the hearer is. So sweet. Okay. Anything else? No?
I think you mentioned about by not respecting the Lord, we are not even respecting our own Atmas. Krishna just trying to relate it with the Ishopanishad Atmaha, third mantra is there, which is killer of our own soul.
That's a nice point, probably. Yeah. If we don't take up devotional service, we are actually working against our own self-interest. Very nice point. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mata.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, through the example of Brahmaji and Manu, so Manu, he's then after it's called Manusha, we are from him. So he's trying to set an example for us, he's trying to obey his father, and it is said the father is ready to instruct him 10 times more than as his desire is there. So if we also try to submit ourselves, surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he will also respond in the same way to all the Manushas also. Sweet, thank you.
Thank you. And we can consider the same thing with a guru also, right? If we have that mood with a guru that we are totally submissive, then guru will be so eager. Oh, this disciple is so submissive, willing to do anything. Then he'll actually reciprocate 10 times more to actually benefit the disciple. Thank you. Very nice point.
Thank you. Prabhuji, I have one question. In the verse 5th, it is Sahasra Shirshaha.
Yeah.
So Lord is called as a 1,000 head. So is it because of the universal form? Because
Not
the main head.
Yeah, not necessarily, because it's not the universal form kept his lotus feet on Vidura's lap, right? So here the main point, that's why Prabhupada's first line of purport, he says the Lord here showing that how the Lord is so unlimited, yet he's actually accepting Vidura's lap as his pillow, to keep his feet. So see, oftentimes this point is said that the Lord, when he's so unlimited, but he actually has a very personal living that actually makes it very intimate. Like even in our life, we may feel the reciprocation of the Lord. Oh, Krishna is so kind. He arranged this situation for me. We may think in that way. But then if you think, oh, Krishna, he's so great. He's unlimited opulences. In 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, just my spark, my splendor, everything is happening. How great is that, Krishna? And now he's responding to me. Then that intensifies the mood of bhakti. That yes, he's reciprocating, but he's so great, but he's actually dealing one-to-one with me. So in that way, we can see this verse that, he's unlimited, yet he actually chose Vidura's lap for his, as a pillow for his feet.
Prabhu, we have seen this contradiction when Uddhavaji was also having this question, right? You're unborn, still you take birth, you are beyond, still you run away from enemies,
Yes.
So this contradiction, probably that is what it was meaning, that great Lord is
actually keeping his lotus feet on. Yeah. So one side we talk of the greatness, and other side we talk of the sweetness. Right. So both of them are important to get the real appreciation, because you talk of the greatness and you think of the lotus, how great the Lord is. Then you think of the sweetness, and we read about the lotus feet of the Lord are so soft that even when a leaf from a tree falls on the feet of the Lord, it leaves an impression. That is how soft the lotus feet of the Lord. So one side is greatness, and the other is so soft. Imagine butter is a lotus feet of the Lord. And that soft lotus feet was on was on Vidura. So both are so important to actually really relish that mood of bhakti, the greatness and the sweetness. Okay. Okay. So anything else?
What is the Manu Samhita? What is the origin, Prabhu? Who wrote that one?
Yeah, actually, it's coming from Swayambhu Manu. He actually, because he is Manu, like Mataji was using the word Manushya, comes from Manu, right? The entire mankind, he's the father of mankind. So, as a law book for the entire mankind, he actually written Manu Samhita. So, actually, there's one conversation when a disciple asked Prabhupada, that, there's so much importance of Manu Samhita. Can we get a copy of this? Like, where can we get access to it? And Prabhupada said, the Manu Samhita, the rules are like so strict and so, deep that you won't be able to follow it. So just follow what I have given you and you'll attain perfection. So yes, Manu Samhita is important, but it may be like too high for us. So certain principles Prabhupada mentions in the purpose, so we just follow those principles, but we don't need to separately read this book, Manu Samhita.
Prabhu, even we cannot follow the book of Hari Bhakti Vilas at one point. Like, if you read Hari Parshad, Prabhu said that if you read Hari Bhakti Vilas, you will stop chanting. Because I'm very steady, is nothing's going to happen. So Manu Samhita is.
So we should always remember that how Prabhupada has so mercifully given us a standard that we can actually follow. Prabhupada could have easily said, okay, Manu Samhita says this. And we're like, wow, this is impossible. I can never come to this end. But he gave us to our level and said, like, okay, do this. Chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles, do this. Right? And then we'll take you the path back home, back to Godhead. Right? So, okay. So let's stop here. Let's take a 5 minutes break. We'll come back and we'll start about Varahadev. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so Hare Krishna, everyone. So please come back. We'll continue. It's very nice. We are going to read about the pastime of Varahadev. Okay, so it is very interesting in this section that let everyone come back. Okay, let's start with Sanskrit. So this is an important point I'll mention after reading the verse. So let's start with text number 60.
Maitreya Uvacha Parameshti Tvapam Madhye Tatasanam Avekshagam Katam Enam Samuneshya Iti Dadyo Dhiyaschiram. Gopinath Chak.
Sri Maitreya said, thus seeing the earth merged in the water, Brahma gave his attention for a long time to how it could be lifted.
Right. So Swayambhu Manu said Brahma that, I need a residence where all the living entities are there. And I know it's going to be the earth, but the earth right now is actually falling into the Garbhodak ocean. So unless you pick a earth, then how can I actually create progeny? Where will they reside? And now Brahmaji, what do you do? Parameshtitva. So even Brahmaji, like Swayambhu Manu was bewildered to see the earth fallen. But even Brahmaji was actually thinking, Tatha Sanam Aveksha. He saw that the earth is actually within that water. And then he was thinking, Katham Enam Samuchesha. How shall I lift the earth? And then thinking in that way, Iti Dadyo Diyachiram. He was thinking for a very long time. What can I do? How can I lift the earth? Like, so Swayambhuva Manu is saying, this is beyond me. Brahmaji, you do. Brahmaji is thinking, this is beyond me. Krishna, you do. So it's like, so okay, next verse, 670.
Srijato mekshitir varbhi plavyamana rasangata atatra kim manushteyam asmabhi sargayojitai yasyaham hridayat asnam sa isho vidato me.
Brahma thought, while I have been engaged in the process of creation, the earth has been inundated by a deluge and has gone down into the depths of the ocean. What can we do who are engaged in this matter of creation? It is best to let the Almighty Lord direct us.
So Brahmaji is saying, Sarita, what was I doing? I was doing my seva. I was doing the task of Srajataha. I was creating. And then at that time, what happened? Shiti, the earth, the Shitihi, Varbhi, was actually inundated and has gone down to the depth of water. So what happened is the earth was overflowed by this water, and then it actually went into the depth of the Garbhodak ocean. Ataha, therefore, Kim, Atra Kim, what is to be done? Asmabi Sargaha Yojitaha. While I was engaged in creation, that happened. What is to be done now? That the earth is now in the water, right? And then further he says, Yasya Aham Hridayat Asam. Actually, even I don't know what's to be done. But I was born from the heart of, from the heart of the Supreme Ishaha. I'm born from the heart of the Lord. Vidadhatu me. Let that person give me direction. Let the Lord perform this task because this is even beyond my seva. Right? So let the Lord actually do that. So Prabhupada and Purport makes a very nice point. He says, devotees, are sometimes perplexed. How should I do this seva? The guru may come and give you, oh, I want you to go here and open a temple. You're like, what? This place, I've never been there before. There are no devotees. But the guru has given me instruction to actually do this. So devotees may be perplexed. How should I do it? But they are never discouraged. Why? Because when the instructions come from a higher authority, we know that with the instruction, the authority is also empowering us with the, with the skills, with the way to actually execute it. Right? So hence they are never discouraged. They have full faith in the Lord, and the Lord will actually pay the way for the smooth progress of the devotee's duty. So nice. It's like such a short purport, just 2 sentences, but so powerful sentences. The devotee may be perplexed. Okay, how should I do the seva? Whatever is the different seva, book distribution, garland making. Oh, they have asked me to make this garland, but I have only these flowers. How will I do it? Or they asked me to cook this preparation. I've never done this before. Cook the entire Sunday feast, or give a Sunday feast class. I've never done this. They may become perplexed. How should I do this? But they're never discouraged. Krishna will take care. I have full faith. Krishna will help me. I'm doing this for service of my Guru. Krishna will help me. Text 18.
Ityabhidhyayato nasa vivarat sahasanaga varahatoko niragat agushta parimanakaha. Koshalya.
Go ahead, next person.
Hare Krishna. O sinless Vidura, all of a sudden, while Brahma was engaged in thinking, a small form of a boar came out of his nostril. The measurement of the creature was not more than the upper portion of a thumb. Hare Krishna.
So what was Brahmaji doing? In the previous verse, what did we read? Brahmaji actually, he said, it is best that let the Lord do this because this is even beyond me. Aham hridayat. I came from his heart. The Lord is actually vidadhatu. Let him direct me or let him do this task. So while Brahmaji was iti abhidhyayata, he was thinking in this way. Then what happened? Nasa vivarat, from his nostril, right from his nose, a personality came out, and it was in the size of a thumb. So small personality. Like imagine from a nostril, someone comes out, it's like so tiny, so tiny. Like so, Brahmaji is like, though he's so big, but it's like a personality came out, just the size of his thumb, right? And it says Angushta. Angushta means upper portion of the thumb. Parimanaka. It was just measuring that. And what was the form? Varaha toka. Varaha, the form of a pig actually, or a form of a boar. Imagine like Brahmaji is thinking, okay, earth has fallen down. What should I do? Oh Lord, he has just seen Garbhadakshay Vishnu, such a beautiful form of the Lord, and he's glorified. Oh, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, so beautiful, and all the glories. And all of a sudden, he's thinking, and from his nostril, a pig or a small form of a boar comes. Right? So interesting. And then what happens? Let's see. Text 19.
Tasyaabhi pashyata katha katstha kshanena kila bharata gajamatra pravavridhe tad adbhutam abhun mahat.
Hare Krishna. O descendant of Bharata, while Brahma was observing him, that a boar became situated in the sky in a wonderful manifestation as a gigantic, as a great elephant.
So now, previous verse, it was said, the words were abhidhyayataha, while thinking. And now, abhipashyataha, right? Abhidhyayataha, thinking. Abhipashyataha, pashyata means seeing. So when Brahma was seeing, oh, who's this creature who came out? Then what happened? He was kastataha, he was situated in the sky. And suddenly, shanena, in a moment, what happened? Gaja matram, he actually grew to the size of a big elephant, right? Prava Vriddhe, thoroughly expanded to an Adbhuta. He transformed into a Mahat, a gigantic form, right? Imagine Brahmaji's thinking and then seeing, and then from his nose, this form has come and he expanded. Such a big Mahat form, right? Okay, then, text 20.
Marichi pramukar viprai kumarar manuna saha drishtva tat sokaram rupam tarkayam asa chitradha.
Okay, so let's read the Sanskrit before the translation. So Marichi Pramukha, right? The great sages. Pramukha means headed by Marichi. And who else? Viprai. So all the learned sages, the Brahmanas, headed by Marichi. And then Kumaraha, 4 Kumaras, right? Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, Saha, along with them. Drishtva, they were actually seeing. Everyone was seeing this form of the Lord. Saukaram, right? Shukaram. Right? That is Varahade, this form of the board. And then what did they do? Tarakam Asha. They actually started arguing on this. What form is this? Who is this? Right? they actually started arguing among themselves. Like, what is this personality? He's come from the nose and he expanded such a big form. Okay, 21.
What translation, Mataji? Pardon.
Yes, yeah. Struck with wonder at observing the wonderful boar-like form in the sky, Brahma with great Brahmanas, like Marichi as well as the Kumaras and Manu, began to argue in various ways. Thank you.
Okay, 21.
Kim etat sukaravyajam satvam divyam avastitam aho sharyam idam nashaya me vinirishtam.
Hare Krishna. Is this some extraordinary entity come in the pretense of a boar? It is very wonderful that he has come from my nose.
Mhm. So all the personalities are arguing, who is this person? And then they say, is this some Kim Sukara? What is this personality who has come in the pretense, Vyajam, right? Pretense of a boar. Who is it? Satvam Divyam? Is he some extraordinary, Divyam is transcendental, almost like an extraordinary personality or transcendental personality who's come here? Aho Bata, right? Isn't that verse? Aho Bata, Aho Bata, what is the, I think,
Oh, Bakiyam
Aho
Prabhu.
Bakiyam Prabhu.
no, that's different.
Right.
Oh, memory, I can't think. But it says, Aho Bata, how wonderful it is. And this is a Tan Nama Deha, that just by chanting the name of Krishna, even a person who's born in the family of a dog eaters is qualified to perform sacrifices. That's the verse I'm looking for. That's the translation. I'm forgetting the verse. Aho Bata. Oh, how wonderful. Oh, how is it? Ashwarya is very wonderful that this personality has come out from the nose and all of a sudden has grown to such a big size. Who is this personality in the pretense of a boar? Okay, 22.
21, right? Oh no, 22. Yeah.
22.
Drishtongushta shiro matra kshanad ganda shila samaha api svid bhagavan esha yagyo me kedayan manaha. First of all, this boar was seen no bigger than the tip of a thumb, and within a moment he was as large as a stone. My mind is perturbed. Is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu?
So it said Drishta, Angushta, right? So they're seeing Angushta just like a thumb, Shira, just like a tip of a thumb. That's how he actually appeared. And Shana, immediately he became Ganda Shila, like a large stone, right? So Apiswit, is this the Bhagwan? Is this Supreme Personality of God Vishnu? This thought is really bewildering me. Who is this personality? And Prabhupada makes a point in the purport that Brahma, even though he is the supermost of all persons in the universe, he was actually, he had never experienced such a thing. You know, he never experienced such a thing. And he was actually, his mind was disturbed and saying, who is this? Is this Vishnu? Is this the first Manvantara, right? Of this first period of Manu? Is this the first Manvantara? Who is this personality? Right? Yeah, that's the verse. Aho bata sopachatu garyan yad jivagre vartate nam tubhyam. Teshu tapu te juva sanus arya brahmanucho nam grihanti yete. Right? This comes in teachings of Devoti 3:33-7. Okay. Yeah. So next 23.
Iti mimam satastasya brahmana saha sunubihi Bhagavan yagya purusho jagendra sanibhaha.
Translation. While Brahma was deliberating with his sons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, roared tumultuously like a great mountain.
So they were all thinking that, is this Vishnu? Who is this personality? And then what did Vishnu do? Iti mamashatas tasya. While everyone was deliberating in this way, including Brahmaji was deliberating that who is this personality? At that time, what is Bhagwan Yagya Purusha, who is actually the embodiment of all yagyas, who is actually, who is the embodiment of all yagyas. What did he do? Aga Indra Sanibihi, like a great mountain, he garjaha. He actually made a big sound. You can imagine, person coming from nose becomes so big, and everyone's like, who is this? Who is this? And he just rose very loudly. Okay. Then, and then Prabhupada makes a point in the purport. While Brahma was guessing about the appearance of the Lord's incarnation as boar, the Lord confirmed Brahma's contemplation by the roaring with his gorgeous voice. So just hearing the sound, everyone felt, oh yeah, this is Vishnu, this has to be Vishnu, this cannot be anyone else, right? And we'll see what is the effect of that. So 24.
Brahmanam harshayam asa haristamscha dvijotaman swagarjitena kakubha pratishvanayata vibhuhu.
Hare Krishna, the omnipotent Supreme Personality of Godhead enlivened Brahma and other highly elevated Brahmanas by again roaring with his uncommon voice, which echoed in all directions. Hare Krishna.
Right? So when that form of a pig or a boar came out and made the sound, how did that confirm that he was Vishnu? Because as soon as he made the sound, Harshayam Asaha, they were enlivened. They were feeling like, oh, it has to be Vishnu, right? He just roared. He didn't come and say, oh, I am Vishnu, I am the first man. He just roared loudly. But the sound was so pleasing that they all become, the Brahmaji and all the great sages, they became enlivened. Oh, and then they said, this has to be Vishnu, right? So it says, Prati Swana Yata. It actually echoed in all directions. Kakubha, in all the directions his voice echoed, and they understood that this is Vibhuhu. This has to be the omnipotent Lord. Right? Okay. Then next verse 25.
Nishamyate gharitam swakedha kshayishnu maya sukarasya janastapasatya nivasinaste tribhi pavitrar munayo grinansma.
Hare Krishna, translation. When the great sages and thinkers who are residents of Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka heard the tumultuous voice of Lord Boar, which was the all-auspicious sound of all the all-merciful Lord, they chanted auspicious chants from the three Vedas. Hare Krishna.
So, previous verse said what? They were enlivened, right? This further is saying, Nishamya Gargaritam, right? So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Gargaritam means the grunting of a pig. Imagine grunting of a pig, like, in Vrindavan, you see these pigs, they grunt, right? I cannot make that sound, but you know what is the grunting of a pig. And he said like this, Gargaritam means the grunting of a pig. It will sound like that. Imagine the Lord, the Supreme Personality of God has come in the form of a pig, a boar, and he's actually grunting in this way, right? And then what happened? Then Maya. So Prabhupada actually explains this word, Maya. He says it's very significant. And this means the all-merciful Lord Varaha, Shukrasya, right? The Lord, the Varaha, when he made this tumultuous sound, then Swakheda Shaishnu, the personal lamentation of all was destroyed. Not only were they enlivened, but they actually, the personal lamentation was actually taken away. Right? Does this remind us of something? When we hear the sound of the Lord, like, for us, it's like hearing the holy name. Two things happen. One is, first, we get enlivened. Oh, Hare Krishna, the holy name is so merciful. And second is, our lamentation goes away. So for all these personalities, why did the lamentation go away? First, because they understood. Because everyone is bewildered. The earth has fallen down in Garbhodak ocean. So now Vishnu has appeared, that will be taken care of. So hence their lamentation went away. The problem is now solved. Vishnu has come, problem is solved. Right? And then second point is, they say, this actually confirmed that, the sound confirmed that this is the boar is actually Vishnu himself. So both these points have actually taken away the lamentation of all these personalities. And then what does all these personalities do? It says Janaha, then Tapaha, then Satya, all the residents, Nivashinaha, all the residents of Janaha, Tapaha, Satya Loka, they all actually started Tribihi Pavitrahi. They actually started chanting auspicious mantras from the three Vedas, right? And here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the word te comes twice in this verse. So twice in the sense that first Brahmaji chanted and then all the other personalities chanted. So twice the glorification of the Lord was done, right? So Prabhupada says this Maya Maya. Maya means what? One, Maya means mercy. Maya means specific knowledge. And Maya also means illusion, right? Hence the Lord is everything. Lord is a form of mercy. Lord is also the cause of illusion, right? Because Maya is Krishna's energy, right? So Krishna is actually everything. Krishna, because of our desire, Krishna covers us with Maya. Then he gives specific knowledge to take away this Maya. And that is the mercy of the Lord. So everything is actually the Lord himself. Hence the word Maya Maya. Maya Maya, right? So, and then another point the Prabhupada says that who are these personalities who reside in Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka? They are so great personalities that even at the end of when Brahmaji goes to sleep, they are not annihilated. Such great personalities. And what are they actually saying? They are actually glorifying this personality. And when such elevated personalities are glorifying, then we have to accept that that personality is the supreme personality of Godhead, though he has come in the form of a boar. So if you may think, like, why would someone come in the form of a boar? Is it really a Lord? Well, all these personalities are glorifying and saying that he's a Lord. Hence we accept it. Yeah, yes, he's the Lord. Right? Therefore, they reply by praying to the Lord with Vedic hymns. Okay. And then Prabhupada says, which is the most important Vedic hymn? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. That's how Prabhupada concludes the purport. Okay. Okay.
Prabhuji, only Earth planet is in the water, but all other planets are outside, like Satyaloka.
So Satyaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, they are not annihilated at the night of Brahma, right? They in fact are not subjected to the fire and then the water. It's only above that. I mean, it's only below that, sorry. Below these planetary systems, they are actually submerged, right? But even among the below, it is only the earth which was actually submerged with water. And hence, Varahadev has appeared to save the earth. Okay, 26.
Rosie, like why boar form? Why boar form?
Yeah, why boar form? Okay, we'll come to that, Prabhu. Next, let's continue.
Tesham satam veda vitanamurtir brahmavadharyatma gunanubadam vinadya bhuyo vibudhodhayaya gajendra lilo jalam avi shubesha.
Like an elephant, he entered into the water after roaring again in reply to the Vedic prayers by the great devotees. The Lord is the object of the Vedic prayers, and thus he understood that the devotees' prayers were meant for him. Hare Krishna.
Right. So here it says, Tesham Satam. Right? Satam, we hear this word Satam. Satam means devotees. Right? Here it refers to all those personalities in a higher planetary system. When they Veda Vitana Murtihi. Right? So Prabhupada elaborates on this verse. Right? Okay. Anyway, this word is actually important. Veda Vitana Murti. That Varaha, he himself is the personification of all the Vedas. Right? So this point is, okay, further it's elaborated. But why did he come out through the nose? Why did he come out through the nose? Okay, so we'll come to that point. Think about it. Okay, so here it says, Tesham Satam, of the great devotees, when they were chanting, then this form of the Lord, which is Veda Vitana Murti, which is a personified form of all the Vedas. So basically, though he was a boar or a pig, right, how we call it, still he was a form of the personification of the entire Vedas. And hence his most intelligent personalities are glorifying him by chanting these Vedic mantras. Right? So then Brahma Avadarya. So knowing, Varahadev knew that all these chant is actually for me. Atma Gunan Anuvadam is transcendental glorification of myself. Then when you pray to the Lord, then does the Lord reciprocate? Yeah. So here also the Lord reciprocated. And again he made a sound to reciprocate that. Oh yeah, I am pleased with your prayers. And then what did he do? He resounded again, Vibhuda Udayo. And when he resounded again, then they felt like, oh yes, the Lord is hearing our prayers and he's reciprocating, right? Like when we pray to the Lord and we see oh, Lord has reciprocated, we feel so happy. So similarly, all these persons felt so enlivened. The Lord has rolled and reciprocated with our prayers. And then Gajendra Leela, Jalam Avishesha. Then what did he do? He jumped into the water, just like Gajendra Leela, just like the playing of an elephant. He actually jumped into the water. Right? So when an elephant jumps in the water, what happens? You can just imagine like elephant jumping into the water. Oh, the water, right? So that's what happens in the next verse. We'll see that. So now, first question, why did he appear from his nostril? Right? Nostril of Brahma. So it is said that Vedas, where do the Vedas appear from? It said the Vedas appear from the breath of the Lord. Like how the Lord exhales and all the universes come. With that, the Vedas are also manifested. So Vedas come from the nose of the Lord, the breath of the Lord, or the nose of the Lord. And that was actually inhaled by Brahmaji. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikave. Right? So that Vedic wisdom is in the heart of Brahma, and he has inhaled that through his nose. Right? And because the Vedic form is entered through his nose, now the same Vedic form is manifested as a personality that came out through the nose. And that's how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this, that why he chose to come out from the nose. Because the Vedas come from the nose, breath of the Lord. So that means it comes from the nose. And the breath was inhaled by Brahma. And the same breath has now come out as the Vedas. Right? So hence this verse is saying what? Veda Vitana Murti. He is the personification of the entire Vedas. And hence he appeared through the nose. Is that okay? Right? Why he comes through the nose? Okay. And then Prabhupada says, the Lord in any shape, whether he comes in the form of a boar, a pig form, then he's always transcendental. He's full of knowledge, full of mercy. He's the destroyer of all material contamination. It's not that he's come in a form like a pig, hence he's also subjected to material contamination. No, he's completely transcendental. So Prabhupada makes that. And right. And then he says, when the Vedic mantras are rightly vibrated, when we say like here they are chanting the Vedic mantras, that means they are actually glorifying the Lord. So the perfect pronunciation of all the Vedic mantras are when the Vedic mantras are directly glorifying the Supreme Personality of God. Then that is true chanting of the Vedic mantras. Okay. Text 27.
Ukshiptavala kakchara katotaraha sata vidunvan kararoma shatvak kurahatabhra sitadam stradiksha jyotir bhabhashe bhagavan mahidra. Arundhati.
Is it Arundhati Mati?
Yes.
Mati, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Before entering the water to rescue the earth, the Lord boar flew in the sky, slashing his tail, his hard hairs quivering. His very glance was luminous, and he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hoofs and his glittering white tusks.
So here is actually Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying this is the meditation on the activities of Varahadev, this verse, right? So what is it? First we see Utshipta Valaha. So he was actually slashing his tail. You know, his tail, he was actually slashing everywhere. In water, slashing his tail. And then Khachara. Where is he? He's in the sky, but he's slashing his tail. Then he says, the next word he says, Kathoraha Sataha Vidhunvan. Right? The very hard hair on the shoulder was actually quivering. Right? It's all moving. The hairs on the shoulder are moving. Then Khara Romashatvak. The skin is full of sharp hairs. Then Kuvara, Ahata, and Sita Damstra. His hooves and white tusks are striking the cloud. Right? So he's in the sky, his tail is hitting the water, and he is like so big that the hooves are actually striking the clouds. Iksha Jyotihi Bhasa. And how is his glance? His glance is as luminous as the light of the sun and the moon. Right? And then this personality is Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's Mahidraha. He's actually, what is Mahi? The earth. The one who actually lifts. He's the lifter of the earth. So we can meditate on this form of Varahadev. So you can see here on my screen, right? So with his tail, he was actually slashing the water. With his hooves, he was actually scattering the clouds, right? And then the description of his hair on his shoulder, the hair on his body. Imagine that Lord has appeared in the form of a bird. Now, why in the form of a bird? Vamshi Gopal Prabhu was asking. Anyone wants to say?
To go into the deepest waters, you need a form that can go.
Yeah, actually, because the earth had fallen into the water, in the depth of the water, the Lord wanted to appear in a form by which he can go inside the water and pick up the earth and bring it back. Okay. So hence he selected, and we'll see further in the activities of the Lord. Because it was in the water, he had to find out, where is the earth? So how does the pig actually, they find their food? They smell, right? So actually, Varahadev was smelling in the water and saying, oh, the earth is right there. So he smelled the earth and then he dived down for the earth and placed it back. Right? I mean, the Lord's activities are so adbhuta, right? So amazing. So Prabhupada in this purport to the text, he says, right. He says, Lord is offered prayers by his devotees. His transcendental. Okay. So basically the point that Prabhupada is saying that when we are describing the transcendental activities of the Lord, that is also a form of prayer of the Lord. When we are glorifying the Lord, that is also prayer because the Lord is actually pleased by those words. Right? When we describe the beauty of the form of the Lord, that is also a prayer because it is directly glorifying the Lord. Right? So we see in the Dashavatar Stotra. What is the verse?
Sukararupa.
Yes. Vasati dasana shikare dharani tavalagna. Like here on the screen, you can see. Shashini kalanka kaleva nimagna. Keshavadrita shukara rupa. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. It says, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe. O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a boar. All glories to you. The earth, which has sunk to the bottom of the Garbha ocean, sits fixed upon the tip of your tusk like a spot on the moon. Right? Spot on the moon. So this is the verse that Jayadev Goswami says to glorify the form of Shukara. Right? So there was one devotee, he actually asked Prabhupada, right? When because Prabhupada said, like, okay, all these forms, you have to paint these forms, right? So artist went to Prabhupada and and the artist asked, as he said, we noticed that okay, the artist asked Prabhupada that how should we represent Varaha? Right? And then Prabhupada said, Varaha is described to have 4 hooves, right? However, he said you show 2 arms and 2 back legs as hooves, right? Show 2 arms in top and then 2 back legs as hooves. And the artist asked, can the boar be attractive, right? So should the boar look like very attractive? Because it's a boar, it's like a pig, it's like, and he asked. So Prabhupada said, the Lord Varaha is very beautiful, very attractive. And he said, you paint him and you should make him as attractive as possible. This is the power of the Lord. Right? So can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. Okay. And then I wanted to share one more pastime. Okay, let's continue until text 30. Then I'll share another wonderful pastime of Varahadev. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearing as Varaha. So we'll discuss that. Okay. 28.
Granena prithvya padavim vijigran krodha padesha swayam advarangaha karaladamstropya karaladigyam udviksha vipran grinato vishatkam.
He was personally the Supreme Lord Vishnu and was therefore transcendental. Yet, because he had the body of a hog, he searched after the earth by smell. His tusks were fearful and glanced over the devotee Brahmanas engaged in offering prayers. Thus he entered the water.
So how did he search out the earth? Says Grahanena Prithvya. Prithvi, how did he search? By his smell. Because he had the form of this Varahadev. So he smelled and says the earth has fallen into Garbhodaya. Where is it? Then he just smelled it and Vijigran, he searched after the earth. Right? And then it says Krodha Apadesha, because Vishnu had assumed this form of a boar, or he was imitating the activities of a boar, and hence he smelled the earth. Though, is he a boar? Is he a boar? Swayam Advara Angaha. His form personally is what? Advara Angaha. That means he has a transcendental form, Angaha body, or the Vedas personified. He is still the Vedas personified. Though he appeared in the form of a boar, he is still Vedas personified. And then it says Kavala Damstraha. Damstraha. Where do we hear Damstraha?
Here's to Lord Nrsimhadev.
Nrsimhadev, right? Damstraha, like fearful. What is it? His tusks are very fearful. But is that also for Prahlad? Was Nrsimhadev's tusk? For Prahlad, it wasn't fearful. When he saw the form, so similarly here, Api Akarala. So this is Karala, it is fearful, it looks very fearful, but Api Akarala. For the devotees, it is not fearful because they are, what are they doing? Drigbhayam Udviksha. They are actually glorifying the Lord with such sweet prayers. So for the devotees, the form of the Lord is not fearful, but otherwise his texts are very fearful. And Avishat Kham. Come means entered. He entered into the water in that way. Right? So Prabhupada makes a point. Although the hog form is, material, right? We should always remember, although the body of a hog is material, a hog form of the Lord is not materially contaminated. It's always transcendental. It's a Vedas personified. And, right. Okay. Now text 29.
Savadrakutanga vega Vishirna kukshistanayan udanvan Utsrishta dirgormi Bhujar ivartash Chukrosha yagyeshvara pahimeti.
Diving into the water like a giant mountain, Lord Boar divided the middle of the ocean, and the two high waves appeared as the arms of the ocean, which cried loudly as if praying to the Lord, O Lord of all sacrifices, please do not cut me in two, kindly give me protection.
If you see the last two words, Pahima. We have heard this verse before, right? Pahima, please protect me, please protect me. Who is saying, please protect me? Right? So this verse is actually examining the sound of the ocean. So Lord, before we said what? It's like an elephant jumping into the water. A huge elephant jumps in the water, then what happens? Both sides, there are these waves that come, right? So similarly, when the Lord jumped into the water, and here says, Sir Vajra Kuta Anga. Vajra, like a big mountain, his form was. And then Nipata Vega, he divided the entire ocean into two parts, right? And that is Vishnu Kakshihi. The whole ocean was divided into two parts, and it appeared as if the ocean has two hands, and he's calling out to the Lord, Oh, Pahima, please protect me. Don't break me into two. So even though it's like, the description is like Varahadev, jumping into the ocean, but such a nice, beautiful devotional mood is there where two arms of the ocean are raised and saying, Lord, don't divide me. Please, Pahima, Pahima. Right? So this is the sound of the ocean. That's how the ocean is described. Okay, text 30.
Purair Kshuraprair Darayam Tarapa Utparaparam Triparurasayam Dadarshagam Tatra Sushupshuragre Yam Yam Jivadhanim Swayam Abhyadhata.
Lord Boar penetrated the water with his hooves, which were like sharp arrows, and found the limits of the ocean, although it was unlimited. He saw the earth, the resting place for all living beings, lying as it was in the beginning of creation, and he personally lifted it.
Yeah, so here it says that after he dived into the ocean, by the hoofs, right? The hoof, which is actually compared to like a sharp weapon, that penetrated the water, right? And through that, he actually utpara pavam, right? He found the limit of something which is unlimited. The ocean is unlimited, but he found the limit because he actually found the earth right there. And that personality, Triparaha, again and again, we are being reminded that this personality is Paru, the master of all the sacrifices. Right? And then he found the earth, Rasayam, Dadarsha, Gam, right? He found the earth within the water of within the water. So Prabhupada actually explains that sometimes people say this Rasayam refers to Rasatala. You know the 14 planetary system? Atala, Sutala, Patala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, right? So some people say this Rasatala, Rasayam refers to Rasatala. But he said, Prabhupada says that cannot be true. You know? Because Earth is above these 7 lower planetary systems. So it cannot be in the Rasatala planetary system. We are saying the planet Earth cannot be in Rasatala planetary system because it's above that. Hence, it's actually there in the Garbhodak ocean, right? And that's where, so from that's where he actually found the Earth lying there. And then Agre, just as it was at the starting of the day of Brahma, right? When it was submerged, when the Earth was submerged, it was just like that, Agre. Then Jiva Dhanum, the Lord actually, Jiva Dhanim, is this earth, which is a resting place of all living entities. Swayam Abhyadata. Personally, he lifted the earth. Right? So, so we know this. Okay, so let's do one thing. Okay, so anyway, let me continue, and then I'll end with the sweet pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he appeared as Varahadev. But so up to this point, see, everything okay? Everyone, you follow? Any questions up to this point?
Prabhu, one question is like, we understand that Earth planet is floating in the air, it's not in the water. Like, how do we understand this? Like, the Varaha is lifting the earth, whole earth from the water. Like, from our material point of view, if you see, look at it, it is floating in the air, right? Like,
so the point is that the earth had fallen into the Garbhodak ocean.
So you mean that there is water, below all these planets?
Yeah, because you know how we say, like, when Garbhodakshay Vishnu, he entered into the entire universe. What does he do? Through his own sweat, he fills half the universe with water. And then Anantashesh comes, and then he lies on Anantashesh, right? So if you see, half of the entire big universe is filled with water. So in that water, the earth actually fell.
Oh, okay. So is that means, it's below the Patala, and so,
Yes, yes,
okay.
below the Patala, yes. Right? It fell into that, right? But here the point is that it cannot be in the Rasatala planetary system, right? Because each planetary is a set of planets. It's not just individual Atala, Satala. It's different planetary. It cannot be in that. It is actually below that. It is in the Garbhodak ocean.
Thank
you. It talks about the Earth planet. It's not just the Earth planet as we know it, right? Because what is the name of the planetary system, right? Is it Burloka?
Burloka, yes.
So that whole thing fell?
No, it is only the Earth planet. It's not like he picked up the whole planetary system. It was just this Earth planet which actually fell.
Because Manu, does he just propagate just in the Earth planet, or the whole, like all the planetary systems?
He populates everywhere, but Earth is actually considered a special planet in all the planetary systems. That's why it is said that, anyone who takes for birth, even on the earth planet, he's so fortunate. Because from this planet, why does Krishna appear again and again on the earth planet? Right? He's not appearing anywhere else. Again and again, he's not appearing on the earth. I mean, he may appear on the other places also, but again and again, we see the incarnation just on the earth planet. Because the earth planet is so special, And the Manushya, this human, is actually on the earth planet. Right? Manushya is on the earth planet. And then you have other species like Gandharvas and all those. They are in higher planet system. But on the earth is Manushya. Right? So that's just this earth planet is what was sung. And that's what. So even in that, when I shared my screen, if you see the illustration, how it is shown, see, he's picking up the earth planet. And if you see how the artist actually drew the earth planet, if you see, you can see North America and South America. Don't you see? See, we are right here. Not Karan, right here.
He's on the top, Prabhuji. Is it Brahma?
Yeah, that's Brahmaji on top. Yes.
Prabhuji, in some other, we are hearing in other places that is the Patala is something like, South America or something like
No,
that.
no, that's not true.
That's not.
And in fifth canto, when we come, we'll discuss it in more detail, but it's not true. So because that entire is all shown, right? We see the whole planetary system, how Mount Meru is there and how everything is going around Mount Meru, where the earth is, where the sun is, where the moon is, all that is given, right? All the different planetary systems.
So, Prabhu, if the earth has fallen in the Garbhoka ocean, so that means it is close to Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Anantasesh lying there, right?
It's true.
So then, if then that Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he could have himself come and picked it up and gave it to Brahmaji.
Yeah. I mean, that's always there, but the Lord actually, what does he take pleasure in? In Leela. He likes to do this.
Going into the character. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do
Like,
Varaha.
he wants to appear as Varaha and he wants to show nice pastimes so that everyone says, even if the Lord appears as boar, he's still my Lord. He's still my Krishna, And he'll take a form of a boar to actually pick up the earth.
It's like, Prabhu, the Lord, when he takes us as animals, animalistic forms.
Form of animal, yes.
Yeah, he goes into the pastime so much that he forgets that he himself, because when Prahlad Maharaj is sitting on his lap, his tongues are bloody and is so horrible and he's leaking Prahlad. I mean, you can just pat him, no? But he loves his character, so we can see how he's flapping his tails and smelling.
Yeah. I mean, this is the Adbhut Leela of the Lord. Like, who will have this concept other than our philosophy? When the Lord has appeared as a boar, Lord has appeared as half man, half lion. And then, as you said, he's licking Prahlad Maharaj. Imagine, he wants to taste that, that pleasure of licking Prahlad. And that way, the Lord, he is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. He wants to enjoy all the pleasure. So he wants to see, okay, Varaha, what is the pleasure in Varaha, smelling the earth, picking the earth? And then through that, what happens? When he picks up the earth, then there is a child who's actually born, right? And then later on becomes Narakasura, right? So this is actually there. Okay, so, and I want to make 2 points at end. So one is, up to this point, we have read about one Varaha avatar. Who is that? Shweta Varaha, right? So there are actually 2 Varaha avatars, and Maitreya Rishi has combined them and put them together. So if you read the text, you will see one after another. Immediately after this verse, what will he talk about? He'll say how this form came and now he fought with Hiranyaksha. Where did Hiranyaksha come? I mean, we are talking of the morning of Brahmaji, the first Manvantara. How come Hiranyaksha came? That comes later, like Diti has to produce children and then Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha will come. How did Hiranyaksha come? So in the next verse, we read about how he fought with Hiranyaksha, and that is a different Varaha. So 2 Varaha avatars are actually mentioned in this section. We have read up to text 30 is 1 Varaha, Shweta Varaha. That is in the starting of the day of Brahmaji. Now there's one more Varaha who appears, and he is Neela Varaha. That is white and this is bluish. The Neela Varaha appears at the end of the 6th Manvantara, Chakshusha Manvantara. Right? So normally, it is said, when does the inundation appear? At the night of Brahma, right? The water fills and it covers up. But now, for to show a particular lila to his devotee Satyavrat Muni, right? That is an inundation even during the day of Brahma. So at the end of the 6th Manvantara, 6th of the 14th, again there is inundation. Right? And at that time, again the earth is actually fallen down, and then Varahadev appears, and again he picks up the earth, he kills Hiranyaksha and places it back into orbit. But that inundation that actually appears, that is not like a regular thing. It is just like in between, and it's described so nicely that when the inundation appears in the middle of Brahma, right, 6th Manvantara, at the end of 6th that period, then because inundation appears, Brahmaji falls asleep. For a moment, he falls asleep. He thinks like, oh, Rat, it's night time now. And he falls. And then he said, no, it's just midday. And he gets up. Okay, I have to continue. It's only the mid of the day. But it's described that when the inundation appears, it's as if Brahma just falls asleep thinking that, oh, it's already night, right? It's just like, one example, like, okay, solar eclipse. And then it becomes dark. And you feel like, oh, it's nighttime to sleep. And then again, like, oh, no, it's not night. Like that inundation appears. So when that inundation appeared at the end of the 6th period, that's when the second Varahadev appears. And he is actually Neela Varaha that appeared in Chakshusha Manvantara. And in that Varaha, he kills Hiranyaksha. Okay.
That's the picture you showed the red Varaha.
Yeah, that picture they show, right? But it says Shweta Varaha and Neela Varaha.
Some places it's mentioned as Raktavara also, that Neelvara, that's why it's red.
So, Prabhu, you're saying that Neela Varaha is also mentioned as Raktavara?
Yeah, sometimes it's mentioned as Raktavara, other
Okay.
places.
Okay.
So in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, it's mentioned the same thing in the 3rd chapter, 10th verse.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Okay, so there was one more. Yeah, I wanted to show this another illustration because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also mentions that sometimes it is described that Varaha is actually half man and half boar. And he has a form like this, like half is like a human, just like Narsimha, half lion, half man. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says certain times it is said that Varaha appears like half man and half boar, like a form like this. And you see how he has the earth on his, and then Bhumi Devi is right here. And he's killed Hiranyaksha. So this is also the description given of Varaha there. Okay. Okay, so okay, very quickly, I just mentioned how in Chaitanya Bhagavat it is mentioned that how when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually takes the form of Varahadev. You know this pastime? Is that in Chaitanya Bhagavat? That once it says, Ekadin Varaha Bhavera Shloka Suni. Right? One day the Lord heard a verse glorifying Varahadev, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then what happened? He went into the house of Murari, right? Who was actually Hanumanji. And Sachinanda entered the house, and Murari immediately offered him obeisances. And as the Lord entered the house of Murari, Lord Chaitanya called out, Shukara, Shukara, right? He says Varaha, like Varaha, Shukara, Shukara, right? And then that Murari was like, okay, what's Shukara? And immediately, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took one pot in the house of Murari Gupta, like a pot, earthen pot, and he placed it on top, right? Just like Varaha did, right? How Varaha has the earth. He picked it up, picked up the water pot with his teeth, with his teeth actually. And he said, oh, Murari, offer prayers to me. Right? And then he's saying that I am Varaha. Now I have taken this form of Varaha, offer prayers to me, right? And then is described that how seeing the unprecedented sight, Murari became stunned and he was unable to speak. And the Lord said, "Speak up, do not be afraid. Do you not know who I am? I am your Lord," right? And then Murari started glorifying the Lord, right? And he says, like, who can understand your unlimited pastimes, right? Like Ananta Dev, he's speaking with unlimited mouths and he does not come to the end of your pastime. So how can I glorify you, right? And right. And then is described, he glorifies. Therefore, only you know yourself. Others can know you only if you reveal yourself to them. Right? And further, Murari Gupta says, so Lord Varaha was very pleased with Murari Gupta's prayers and displaying anger towards the Vedas. He actually said what? Varahadev, like in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of Varahadev. He said, my form is so amazing. I have now appeared as Varahadev to you, O Murari. But the Vedas, they mock me by accusing that I have no hands, no eyes, right? And then, basically he's talking of those sections of the Vedas where it points out that the Lord does not have a form, right? And there is one wretch in Kashi named Prakashananda who cuts my body in pieces by teaching this Vedas. And then further he continues, he explains the Vedas but does not accept my form. His entire body is afflicted with leprosy, yet he does not come to his senses. Right? My body is a personification of the sacrifices, and pure personalities like Brahma and Shiva, they actually worship me. And this Prakashananda Saraswati, he's actually saying, I don't have a form. Right? And it's a very nice section actually. And here he says, I am the divine sacrificial Varaha, Ami Yagya Varaha. I am that Yagya Varaha. I am that boar, the essence of all the Vedas. It is I who personally picked up the earth, right? Ami se karinu purve prithvi udhara. If you say, I actually did the udhara of prithvi. And then, further he says, okay. And then here he says, Ye kale karinu mushi prithvi udhara, kaile shitira garba parshe amara. When I was delivering the earth, she became pregnant by my touch. Right? So when Varaha touched the earth became pregnant. Right? And then it says, and further he actually says, I begot a powerful son named Naraka, and I personally instructed him in religious principles. Right? The Naraka was born, and the Lord actually gave him instructions. My son became a great king, and he properly maintained the demigods, the brahmanas, the gurus, the devotees. But by providence, he fell into bad association. And who is that personality he fell into association with?
What's it, Vidya?
Bana.
Bana. He actually, he fell in bad association with Bana. And then he said, I cannot tolerate the oppression of my servants, so I will cut my own son to protect my devotees. Because he's oppressing my own devotees, I will cut my own son to protect my devotees. And therefore, I have disclosed all these truths to this. And Murari Gupta, he heard this and started crying. And says, all glories to Gora Chandra in the association of Murari. All glories, Jai Yagya Varaha, Sevaka Rakshamaya, the protector of all his devotees. Right? So very nice. This comes in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Leela, second chapter or third chapter. Third chapter. Okay. So where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as Varahadev. Okay, so we talked about Shweta Varaha. Now next time we'll talk about Neela Varaha. There are 3 verses talking of the other Varaha who appeared in Chakshashva Manvantara, and then how the different sages, they offer their prayers to Varaha, and that's basically like most of the chapter, and that's it. And then the Lord places the earth back in his orbit, and then he leaves. Right? That is this chapter number 30. Okay. So thank you all so much. So stop here. Any comments, questions, realizations, final points?
Prabhu, the part where Lord Varaha touched the earth is Koladvip.
I read about that also. I was reading that Koladip, that form is actually, it said like there's Ditya Varaha that's being worshipped in Koladip. Nice.
We don't have the deity now, bro. I mean, that one was like We don't have a
I read one place they said they are worshipping in the Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu temple.
I mean, they make so, but they're not really a deity there.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Any other points? Quick points. So Prabhuji, the link you posted is what? Battle between the boar and Hiranyaksha.
So this is a lecture from Bhakti Vidyavina Shri Narasimha Maharaj, where he talks about Raktavara and Shvetavara.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Maybe we can post it on our WhatsApp group. We close this. Can you post on our WhatsApp group?
Prabhu, when we see the the Sankalpa, we say Shweta Varaha Kalpa, right?
Yeah.
So this is the same Varaha we're reading about?
Yeah, up to this point we read about Shvetavara. Now next we'll read about Neelavaraha.
But we are not in Swayambhu Manu, right, Prabhu? Like, so Shweta Varaha comes in this Manvantara also? This
This day, right? One day has 14 Manus, right?
Oh, one day.
First Manu, this first Manvantara, or first period was this Shvetavara. Sixth, at the end of the sixth period, sixth Manu is this. But we are now in the seventh, right?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, and Pranam Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I like the point that sometimes the task we have to do, it seems very difficult. And but if we pray to Lord Krishna that please direct us, and we have full faith in the Lord, then the Lord will make sure that our job is done smoothly. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhu. Very nice point. Thank you so much. Okay. Anything else, anyone? Okay, everyone okay?
I liked how the boar roared, Lord Boar roared again to reciprocate with the prayers of his devotees, and how that sound was so pleasing and enlivening, not like an ordinary sound.
Yeah. I mean, like our only experience is, like, at least, for me, I can say my experience of pigs is when you go to Vrindavan. You see all these pigs and they keep grunting. But certainly this is the form of the Lord is not like that. It's like the sound is like so, you just hear the sound and you feel so enlivened and all your lamentations over. That is the sound of the Lord Varaha. Okay, so thank you so much. And here, Gandharsham Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhuveva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. So this time the verse to memorize is the verse that we discussed, which is the verse number. What's the verse where we read about Yesham?
13,
15.
26, I think.
But you said 13 to us to memorize.
Yeah.
Yeah, 13 you said.
The Yesham and Tesham verse? Yeah, text number 13.
Yeah, Yesham.
Yesham na tushto Bhagavan.
Yes, exactly. Right. So that will be the verse for memorizing for this week. Yesham na tushto Bhagwan yagya lingo janardana tesham shamo na aparthaya yad atma nadrita swayam. This easier verse to memorize. So please memorize this week. This verse number 13. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much for your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.